Chapter 878. The bald man also cried out in alarm, and his expression was filled with boundless fear. Impossible, how can you not be injured at all? It was too shocking. The energy ball just now was enough to kill a third heaven honorable. However, the other party was not injured at all after being hit head-on. It didn't make sense. Nothing is impossible. Your attack was too weak and couldn't break through my defense. Lin Xian stepped on an ice lotus and floated over quickly. Next, it's my turn to attack. His voice suddenly became sharp and his expression was cold. In the next moment, a powerful sword aura exploded from his body, as if it could pierce through heaven and earth. What a powerful sword aura. Could he be a swordsman? Everyone was shocked and looked at the void in a daze. Originally, when they saw the other party using an ice martial soul, they thought he was an ice-type martial artist. However, at this moment, a powerful sword aura suddenly surged from his body. This was clearly a sword aura that only a powerful swordsman could possess. Swordsman, he was actually a swordsman. The scarred man's face was also filled with shock, and there was a trace of fear in his expression. Among all martial artists, swordsmen were famous for their powerful attacks. He didn't expect the other party to be a swordsman. Furthermore, from the aura of the sword aura, he was definitely a terrifying swordsman. Wait, I admit defeat. I'll give you the cyan rainbow sword. The scarred man suddenly shouted. We were wrong this time. I apologize to you and return the cyan rainbow sword. Furthermore, none of you are injured. Why don't we stop here? Anyway, there are many treasures in this king's treasure. Why should we fight over a treasure aura and waste our time? The scarred man said in a deep voice. What? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe their ears. The dignified leader of the White Sharks gang was begging for mercy? The bald man also retreated and came to the scarred man's side. He gritted his teeth and said, Big brother, why do you have to do this? Why don't we fight it out with them? Shut up, what do you know? The scarred man shouted and then squeezed out a smile. I'll give you the cyan rainbow sword now. He waved his arm and threw the cyan rainbow sword in his hand to Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, the White Sharks gang members were stunned. They didn't expect their gang leader to really beg for mercy. Lin Xian stretched out his hand and caught the sword. He played with it for a while before throwing it to Dongfang Fenghuang. Lin Xian, thank you very much for this matter. I owe you a favor. Dongfang Fenghuang solemnly said as she received the green sword. It's nothing, Lin Xian said with a smile. Then he turned to look at the White Sharks gang again, thinking about how to deal with these people. Seeing Lin Xian's gaze, the knife-scarred man's face stiffened. He then lowered his head slightly, but his eyes were spinning rapidly. He kept shouting in his heart, just a little more time. As long as he waited for them to arrive, he would be able to make a comeback. Suddenly there was a commotion outside the hall, and the ground trembled slightly. It was as if quite a few people were rushing over. Hearing that voice, the scarred man's face lit up and his eyes lit up. In the next moment he took the bald man and retreated quickly. Once again he laughed sinisterly. Brat, don't think that this matter is over. Next, I'll let you know the consequences of offending our White Sharks gang. Lin Xian frowned. The other party's unpredictable changes made him suspicious, but in the next moment he understood. Because at the entrance another group of people walked in, and they had a thick blood aura on them. At the front was a burly man with a full beard. He had a strong aura, and every step he took caused the ground to tremble. Behind him there was a huge purple blade on his back. It's the Frenzied Blade Gang. They're here too. Seeing the group of martial artists, countless people exclaimed, and their eyelids twitched. The Frenzied Blade Gang has a good relationship with the White Sharks gang. They must be here to help the White Sharks gang. No wonder the knife-scarred man acted like that. He was trying to stall for time and wait for reinforcements. Seeing the people from the Frenzied Blade Gang, the bald man and the other members of the White Sharks gang laughed wildly. Their eyes were filled with madness. They were too excited. The Frenzied Blade Gang was one of the bigger forces in the Blackwater River, and their strength was not any weaker than theirs. Moreover, the relationship between the two parties was very good. With them here, they could definitely kill that despicable brat. Damn it, despicable. Dongfang Phoenix was so angry that her face turned pale. Lin Xian's face was also gloomy. The other party had called for reinforcements to attack them. It seemed like he would not be lenient this time. Ah, brother Lu Fei, are you alright? The burly man with a full beard laughed. His voice was deep and it caused the air to tremble. I'm fine. I was careless this time and suffered a loss. However, with Big Brother Frenzied Blade we can definitely kill that brat. This burly man with a full beard was called Frenzied Blade. His frenzied lion blade technique was very fierce. At the same time he was also a third-level venerable. He was very powerful. The scarred man, Lu Fei, believed that if the two of them worked together they could definitely kill that brat easily. At that time, not only would he seize the Qinghong Mother Sword, but he would also let that brat know what it meant to be better off dead. Brat, how dare you offend me? I'll let you know what regret is. The scarred man Lu Fei looked at Lin Xian. His eyes were filled with endless madness. On the side, the bearded frenzied blade also stepped forward. His aura was sharp as if a heavenly blade had appeared, and it suppressed the surroundings. When the two third-level venerables worked together, the momentum created was extremely terrifying. The air in the entire hall seemed to have condensed, and it was extremely oppressive. The surrounding martial artists retreated. Their faces were pale. Under such pressure, even breathing was difficult for them. If the surrounding people were in such a state, one could imagine how much pressure Lin Xian and Dongfang Phoenix were under. Lin Xian was still fine. He had the great dragon sword soul and could withstand the pressure. However, Dongfang Phoenix's face was pale, and sweat dripped down her forehead. Seeing this, Lin Xian wanted to reach out and pull her over to share some of the pressure. However, in the next moment, a wave of energy exploded from Dongfang Phoenix's body. On her delicate body, flames danced and suddenly expanded. They turned into a flaming phoenix and enveloped her. With a flap of her wings, she directly tore apart the huge pressure. At the same time, a wave of pressure also came from Dongfang Phoenix's body. It made one's heart tremble. That aura was not inferior to a third-level venerable at all. This is the power of the bloodline. Someone exclaimed. His face was full of shock. The power of the bloodline? The scarred man, Lu Fei, and Frenzied Blade's faces darkened. They did not expect that the other party had hidden such a move. However, so what? Their strength was not as simple as releasing pressure. Even if the other party had the power of the bloodline, they were not afraid. Lin Xian was also surprised. He was the closest to Dongfang Phoenix and could clearly feel the power of the bloodline. Chapter 879. Dongfang Fenghuang used her bloodline power and unleashed a powerful force that shocked everyone around her. On her body, a huge shadow of a phoenix swayed, carrying with it a monstrous flame. Lin Xian also focused. Sword chi gushed out of his body as if it was a peerless divine sword that could destroy everything. Four powerful forces collided and instantly tore the void apart. Terrifying forces spread out in all directions and swept through the entire hall. Buzz. The entire hall let out a low sound as if something had awakened. A cold aura gushed out and spread out, making people tremble. Lin Xian and the others were also stunned. They stopped fighting and looked around cautiously. They also felt threatened. Boom. A crimson light lit up like a lamp in the dark night, instantly illuminating the entire space. It's alive. In the distance, someone exclaimed and trembled. He pointed in a direction of the hall with a horrified expression as if he had discovered something terrifying. Everyone looked over and sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with shock. The female stone statue in front of them suddenly opened her eyes. Red light bloomed from the stone eyes as if she had come to life. Not only her, but the other stone statues around her also did the same. Several gazes met in the air with a mysterious and eerie aura. Who dares disturb the Cemetery of Kings? Trespassers of the Cemetery of Kings, die. A cold voice sounded without a trace of emotion, which made people shudder. Scar and Kuang Dao's expressions were grave as they stared ahead in bewilderment. Lin Xian also frowned as his eyes flickered. These stone people are alive? Dongfang Fenghuang was also shocked. She did not expect such a situation. Lin Xian did not speak, but his brows were tightly knitted. Kid run. At this time, the dark red dragon sent a voice transmission. It did not explain anything, but its voice was extremely solemn. Lin Xian's pupils shrank and his heart trembled violently. He had never seen the dark red dragon with such a solemn expression. Let's go. The next moment he pulled Dongfang Fenghuang and retreated. Just as he moved, the cold voice sounded again. Trespassers die. Then, black mist gushed out from the stone statues like dark clouds, covering the sky and instantly filling the entire space. Brr. Shrill cries rang out from within the black fog. Countless crimson eyes lit up from behind the trees, filled with bloodlust as they looked at the crowd below. Boom. The black fog exploded and turned into black monsters that pounced down. For a time, countless screams sounded. All the martial artists who were touched by the black fog were severely injured. Those who were unlucky died on the spot. This sudden turn of events shocked everyone. Run. Monster. Countless people screamed as they ran outside. However, they were still a step too late. The entire hall was sealed. The martial artists closest to the stone statues bore the brunt of the intense attacks. Boom. Bang. Scar and Frenzied Blade were also attacked. Two balls of black fog rushed towards them, and black arms reached out to grab them. It was as if they were reaching out from hell. Scram. Frenzied Sword roared and pulled out the purple saber on his back, splitting the black mist apart. Damn it, what the hell is this? Scar's expression was ugly. He did not expect such a strange thing to happen in the hall. Fuck, it's so strange. He sent a black monster flying with a punch and cursed in a low voice. Didn't you say there's a treasure? Where is it now? Frenzied Blade's expression was gloomy. It's in the hands of that girl. As long as we catch them, we can get it. Scar said. That's a top-grade spiritual artifact. It's absolutely precious. Why don't we catch that kid first? The two discussed and decided to make a move amidst the chaos. Lin Xian brought Dongfang Phoenix to the edge. Just now he was warned by the dark red dragon in advance and took the lead to retreat, so he had not been attacked until now. However, this situation could not last long because the black fog in the hall was increasing and almost covered half of the hall. The entire hall was sealed. If this continued, it would not be long before they were targeted by those strange black creatures. Damn it, what is that black fog? Lin Xian asked. Death Qi, something produced by the corpse of a powerhouse, the dark red dragon said. Kid, hurry up and leave. I feel that there's a big guy here. Big guy. Lin Xian's mouth twitched and he was ready to leave. However, at this moment, Scar and Frenzied Blade flew over and blocked the path. Kid, hand over the Qinghong sword. Frenzied Blade snorted. I'll let you know the consequences of offending me. Scar sneered. Idiot. Lin Xian cursed. He was not in the mood to fight with these two. If the dark red dragon was telling the truth, then he was in a dangerous situation. Don't fight with them. Find a chance to leave. He whispered to Dongfang Phoenix. Okay. Dongfang Phoenix nodded. Although she had used her bloodline power and her strength had greatly increased, she was still a girl. She was afraid of such strange things. Dongfang Quangren's figure flashed and he was about to leave. Wanna leave? Stay. Frenzied Blade sneered. He already knew that the top-grade spiritual artifact was in the hands of the other party. How could he let them leave? Therefore he quickly slashed with his blade. Bang. An ice lotus spun and released the power of ice, blocking the purple blade. You want to touch her? Ask me first. Lin Xian stood in front of him. You're courting death. Get lost. Scar also shouted coldly. He waved his hand, and the image of a white shark appeared, biting towards Lin Xian. Buzz. A sword light flashed and split the opponent's attack apart. Frenzied Blade, let's work together and take down this kid. Scar said. Anyway, this place is sealed. That girl can't run away for a while. Okay. Frenzied Blade nodded and stared at Lin Xian. His eyes flashed with blade light. Kid, you dare to interfere with my business. You'll die miserably. After saying that, he waved his purple blade and slashed at Lin Xian. Boom. A great battle broke out. Lin Xian challenged 2/3 level honorables alone. The terrifying aura shook the space as if it was about to crack. He activated his Ice Lotus Martial Soul to restrain Scar and used his Great Dragon Sword Soul to fight against Frenzied Blade. For a moment he actually blocked the attacks of the two. What? The people who were escaping in the distance were so shocked that their jaws dropped. Is he still human? A second Heaven Venerable blocked the attack of 2/3 Heaven Venerables? No one would believe it if they said it out loud. Scar and Frenzied Blade's faces turned ugly, especially Frenzied Blade. This was his first time fighting with Lin Xian. He didn't know how strong Lin Xian was, but the other party's aura was only at the second level. Obviously he didn't put him in his eyes. However, he couldn't accept the current situation. Kid, die. Chapter 880. Mad Lion Slash. A purple sword light flashed and quickly slashed out, forming a purple lion in the air and pouncing towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian pulled out the Wind Shadow Sword and swept it out. A golden lightning bolt surged and exploded in the air. Immediately after, another sword slashed out. The fiery red sword Qi carried monstrous flames that burned everything as it slashed towards the opponent. In an instant, Lin Xian had slashed out twice. It was extremely terrifying. Frenzied Blade used his strength to block the two swords. He was extremely angry. Although the opponent's cultivation was not as high as his, his attack power was too strong. Moreover, the opponent seemed to have mastered many types of attacks, making him flustered every time. Just as Frenzied Blade blocked the two-sword chi and was about to continue attacking, a few screams came from afar, causing his expression to change. The screams came from his Frenzied Blade association. It was obvious that the gang members he brought were injured. Frenzied Blade suddenly turned around and saw more than 10 Frenzied Blade Association martial artists covered in black fog and turned into blood. His eyes immediately turned red. Die for me. He gave up on Lin Xian and slashed out. A huge purple sword light tore through the sky and slashed towards the black fog in the distance. The knife-scarred man's expression also changed because the White Sharks Association's members were also decreasing. Although he could resist it, the ordinary gang members couldn't resist it at all. No, we can't stay here for long. The knife-scarred man's heart was heavy. He glanced at Lin Xian with complicated feelings. Just as he was about to attack with all his strength, a powerful and strange aura erupted from behind him. A huge stone statue came to life. It was surrounded by black fog like a demon from hell. A huge stone hand reached out and grabbed downwards. Wherever it passed, no martial artist escaped. No. The martial artists screamed and cried for their parents. They were extremely regretful. They did not expect the king's treasure to be so dangerous. However, there was no time for regret now. In an instant, hundreds of martial artists turned into blood mist in the stone hand. Boom. Another stone man came to life and slashed down with the stone sword in his hand. That direction was where the Frenzied Blade Association was. Damn it. Frenzied Blade looked at the stone sword with a gloomy face. He roared and slashed out with his sword as well. Boom. The two collided and the entire hall almost split apart. The momentum was terrifying to the extreme. Frenzied Blade retreated, his eyes filled with horror. His opponent's strength had already surpassed his. Damn it, what the hell is this thing? He was abnormally furious. However, there was no time for him to think. In the next moment, his opponent raised his stone sword again. One by one, the stone statues came to life and charged at the crowd with a terrifying aura. Lin Xian's scalp went numb. His figure flashed and he regrouped with the Eastern Phoenix. Let's go. He slashed out with his sword, and when he looked at the screen of light formed by the black fog, he discovered that he couldn't cut it open. In that instant, Lin Xian was taken aback and prepared to use his great dragon sword soul. I'll do it. Dongfang Fenghuang stepped forward. At this time she could no longer hide her strength. The flames on his body danced, forming a flaming phoenix. With a mysterious flame he charged forward. Boom. In the next moment, a hole was burned into the strange black fog light screen. Let's go. The two of them didn't delay and quickly rushed out. There's an exit. When the others saw this, they shouted crazily and ran toward the hole that was burned open by the flames. The scene was very chaotic because the crowd realized that the exit was slowly shrinking. Instantly, countless people became angry and even attacked to kill the people in front of them. They had no choice. The black light screen was very strange and ordinary people couldn't break it open. The exit in front of them was their only way out. Get lost. An angry shout was heard, followed by a purple sword ray that slashed down and sent the martial artists in front flying. Blood splattered everywhere and it was a shocking sight. Boom. Seeing this scene, everyone's scalps went numb and they quickly dodged. Many people roared and turned back, but when they saw that it was Frenzied Blade who attacked, they immediately lost their temper. They had no choice. A rank 3 honorable realm martial artist was extremely terrifying, and no one could stop him. Frenzied Blade and Scar came near the hole and used all their strength to tear it open. Then they led their subordinates and quickly left. The others followed behind, looking terrified. Behind them, the black fog saw that the crowd had fled the hall and immediately roared angrily. Some of them retreated. However, there were some that followed them out of the hall and continued to chase. Among them, many black fog rushed out and formed a woman's shadow. She chased after Lin Xian and Dongfang Fenghuang. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He and Dongfang Fenghuang quickly flew through the passage, but the black fog followed closely behind them. Oh no, these damn things are chasing after us. Dongfang Fenghuang's face was pale. Lin Xian turned back and saw the blurry figure. He found that it was very similar to the woman who raised her hand in the hall and immediately understood. This black fog is coming for the Qinghong mother-son sword. Lin Xian said. What should we do? Dongfang Fenghuang was anxious. She had obtained this treasure with great difficulty, and she didn't want to lose it here. Don't worry. Look at this black fog. It shouldn't be very strong. If we work together we might be able to get rid of it. Okay. Dongfang Fenghuang nodded. Then the two of them stopped and quickly attacked. A flaming phoenix attacked, lighting up the entire space. It rushed toward the black fog figure behind them. Lin Xian also used the great dragon sword. The shocking sword chi was like a rainbow as it slashed toward the back. The two of them attacked with extremely powerful attacks. Just as they were about to destroy the other party, a furious roar suddenly came from the hall in the distance. It was like a demon's voice, causing people's hearts to tremble. Oh no, it seems like a big guy is coming out. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. You go first. Dongfang Fenghuang's face was pale. Then she nodded heavily. You must come back alive. Don't worry. Lin Xian's sword chi slashed toward the back. Seeing this, Dongfang Fenghuang turned into a flaming phoenix and quickly flew into the distance. She knew that Lin Xian was powerful and had countless trump cards. You should be safe. However, she would only distract him if she stayed here. It was better to leave quickly. Seeing Dongfang Fenghuang and Lin Xian's eyes gradually became fierce. He looked at the black fog behind them with a dignified expression. Help. Behind them, a martial artist screamed in horror and ran toward Lin Xian. You're courting death. Lin Xian's face darkened. Originally, the black fog behind them did not come toward them. Now, it was attracted by the martial artist. It was obvious that the other party wanted to drag Lin Xian down with them. Lin Xian's eyes were cold. He would not show mercy to those who wanted to frame him. However, before he could attack, the black fog behind him turned into a terrifying palm and slapped down quickly. Boom. With one hit, the second-level honorable realm turned into a bloody mist. Seeing this, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. The black palm was more terrifying than he had imagined. Buzz buzz buzz. The space trembled as the black palm floated. A bloody mouth appeared in the center of the palm and swallowed the second-level honorable realm's bloody mist. Chapter 881. A bloody mouth and a blood-red eye appeared in the palm of the black hand. It was extremely strange as it stared coldly at Lin Xian. Boom. In the next instant, it exploded with terrifying power and quickly grabbed at Lin Xian. The palm caused the mountains to collapse and the earth to crack. The wind howled and it was extremely terrifying. Even a third heaven honorable realm would be turned into a bloody mist if they were hit. Lin Xian's scalp went numb. The attack was beyond what he could withstand. He used his movement skill and dodged quickly. At the same time, he summoned the Red Lotus armor to defend himself. Boom. Lin Xian felt his blood boil after being hit by the palm. His entire body felt like it was about to split apart. The Red Lotus armor on his body dimmed as well. So powerful? He was shocked and his face was extremely solemn. The black hand appeared again and the bloody mouth revealed a mocking smile. It was obviously extremely sinister, as if it was mocking the weak human in front of it. It seems like I can only use that move. Lin Xian's face was gloomy and his eyes flickered. He activated the Great Dragon Sword Soul with all his might and then took it out. Buzz. The void trembled and shattered. A green sword shadow appeared in front of him. It was extremely blurry, but it carried a monstrous aura. The aura was too terrifying and far exceeded that of a third heaven honorable realm. Even a fourth heaven honorable realm would not be able to compare to it. It was as if a peerless divine sword had appeared in the world. Just its aura alone could easily tear the void apart. The appearance of the green sword shadow made the black hand uneasy. A tinge of fear appeared in its eyes and it let out a low roar. Its voice was filled with unease. In the next instant, it suddenly became extremely violent and charged at Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly and slowly held the green sword shadow in his hand. Endless rays of light exploded and dyed the entire world green. The void shattered and a ray of sword light slashed down silently and instantly hit the black hand. It was as if nothing existed in the world except for the green sword shadow. After a period of time, a terrifying sound was heard. The entire ground split into two and the void shattered like a mirror. The black hand let out a shrill cry that was like a demonic sound, destroying all the surrounding mountains and trees. However, it still could not change anything. A sword mark appeared on its body and split it into two. Whoosh. The black hand fell to the ground and turned into a black handkerchief. Lin Xian waved his hand and the black handkerchief in his hand. Then he let out a heavy sigh. His face was pale. He waved his hand and the green sword shadow. Summoning the Great Dragon Sword Soul consumed too much of his energy, but its power was also very terrifying. Even a fourth sky venerable expert might not be able to withstand that attack. With a flash, Lin Xian arrived at a safe place and sat down cross-legged to recover. In this king's treasure there were dangers everywhere. He had to maintain his peak condition at all times. Fortunately, he had a variety of natural treasures on him, so he quickly recovered. He took out the black handkerchief. There was a powerful aura on it. This is a treasure. You should be able to activate it. Give it a try. The dark red dragon said. Lin Xian was tempted. He poured his spiritual power into the black handkerchief. Then, the black handkerchief emitted light and floated in the sky. Countless black lights drooped down like a black river, surging and roaring. It was extremely terrifying. The black lights formed a sealed space that could control people. Lin Xian raised his hand and slashed at the black lights. There was a rumbling sound, but it did not cut through. Good stuff. His eyes lit up and a smile appeared on his face. His attack was equivalent to a level 3 venerable. The attack just now did not pose a threat to the black lights. Didn't that mean that the black handkerchief could trap a level 3 venerable? Thinking of this, he smiled again. With this, he had another trump card. In the future, he would not be afraid even if he faced 2 level 3 venerables. His body swayed and he went on his way again. Whoosh. In front of him, there was a sound of something breaking through the air. A fiery red light flew over quickly. Then a delicate voice sounded. It was Lin Xian. Whoosh. The flaming figure stopped, revealing Dongfang Phoenix's delicate body. She looked at Lin Xian with her beautiful eyes. You're fine. That's great. Let's go and meet up with Bing Ling and the rest, Lin Xian said with a smile. Okay. Dongfang Phoenix nodded. The two of them walked side by side and left quickly. Along the way they saw countless battles and countless buildings. However, they ignored them and went deeper into the forest. In front of them, the forest gradually became sparse and a plain appeared. However, the color was still white. When they arrived at the plain, the number of martial artists around them increased again. Countless people flew forward with burning eyes. There was a blurry black shadow in the sky. Seeing that black shadow, Lin Xian and Dongfang Phoenix also sped up. Soon they realized that the blurry black shadow was a huge cauldron. It stood on the ground like a giant mountain. The closer they got, the more they could feel the terrifying aura emitted from the black cauldron. It made the entire space become oppressive. Moreover, there was a sense of vicissitudes on the cauldron as if it was lamenting the ruthlessness of time. The huge black cauldron had 3 legs and 2 handles. The cauldron's body was painted with various rare and lifelike beasts. It looked as if they would jump out at any time. Countless martial artists gathered around the black cauldron. They were densely packed like locusts. Those martial artists were divided into numerous groups. From the sky they looked like terraced fields. They were clearly separated. It was obvious that they belonged to different forces. Lin Xian and Dongfang Phoenix's arrival did not attract the attention of others. That was because there were martial artists flying over at every moment. Moreover, the two of them were second-level honorables. They were not particularly outstanding, so the martial artists did not notice them at all. However, there was a power that let out a cry of alarm. They were from Blackwater City where Xiaomei was. When they saw that Lin Xian was still alive they were shocked. Especially Grandma Silver. Her wrinkled old face was filled with disbelief. That was the ice underground. Even a third-level honorable would freeze to death if they entered. However, a second-level honorable martial artist had come out alive? When she thought of this, her face became extremely gloomy. That was because she had sent a martial artist to guard that place. Although that martial artist was also a second-level honorable, he had the black flag and could definitely capture and kill that brat. However, the brat had appeared in front of her. This meant that the person she had sent was very likely dead. Grandma Silver looked at the sky with a gloomy face. She was not sad for the martial artist, but the black flag in the martial artist's hand was very important to her. If it was lost, it would be very troublesome. What a good-for-nothing. You can't even catch a thief. Grandma Silver's eyes were gloomy. Xiaomei also noticed Lin Xian. Her seductive face was also stunned for a moment. However, a cold smile soon appeared on her face. He's not dead? That's great. This way I can take the yang energy. Xiaomei was extremely excited. Chapter 882. Xiaomei looked at Lin Xian who was flying in the sky and smiled evilly. Kid, you're fine. That's great. With you I can break through. Grandma Silver, you must catch him this time. Xiaomei's voice rang out, bringing with it a sharp killing intent, which immediately alerted the surrounding martial artists. She was the daughter of the governor of Blackwater City, and her every move was watched by thousands. Someone who could make her kill intent was probably not simple. Countless people looked up and paid close attention. "Don't worry, Mississippi. I'll catch him this time." Grandma Silver's voice was hoarse and it was filled with killing intent. Then her body swayed and she rushed into the void. Her actions naturally attracted Lin Xian's attention. He saw her greedy and cruel eyes and he narrowed his eyes. Since they were courting death, he didn't mind sending them on their way. "Kid, come here and die." A terrifying voice was heard and it shook the surroundings. "I was wondering who it was. So it's you, old dog. You're really haunting me." Lin Xian sneered. The crowd was in an uproar. He was the first person who dared to talk about Blackwater City like that. Could he be a peerless expert? Countless people looked up, but they were stunned when they saw Lin Xian's figure and cultivation. A second heaven venerable realm brat? Although it was amazing to reach the second sky honorable realm at such a young age, it was still not enough to go against Blackwater City. Who was it that gave him such guts? Many people sneered and shook their heads, thinking that he was courting death. "You have a sharp tongue. When I catch you, I'll knock all your teeth out." Grandma Silver's face was gloomy, and she emitted a terrifying aura. "It's them again." Dongfang Phoenix's face turned cold. "Do you want to attack together?" "Let me do it." Lin Xian said, "Under the watchful eyes of so many people, they won't be willing to attack together. I'm fine with an old witch." "Then be careful," Dongfang Phoenix said. She didn't doubt Lin Xian's strength. "Don't worry." Lin Xian smiled. He then turned around and looked at Grandma Silver. His face, which was originally smiling, turned cold at this moment. There was a trace of coldness on his face, which was shocking. "I have to say you're really lucky. You didn't freeze to death in such a cold place. You're really lucky." "Good luck?" Lin Xian sneered and didn't answer. The other party continued, "However, your brain is not very good. If I were you, I would have run away long ago. And you still dare to come here? I'll let you know the consequences of going against Blackwater City." "So much nonsense. Are you done?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. Upon hearing this, the crowd below was stunned. They didn't dare to believe that a level 2 Venerable Realm Cultivator and a level 3 Venerable Realm Cultivator were talking. "You're courting death." Silver Grandma was also furious. She suddenly swung her snake-headed walking stick and smashed it forward. Lin Xian sneered. With a wave of his hand, he threw out a black handkerchief. The black handkerchief expanded in the wind, and like a dark cloud, it quickly covered the sky. Buzz. In an instant, it was above Silver Grandma's head. It quickly cast rays of dark light, forming a sealed cage and trapping her. "Such a small trick. Break." Silver Grandma sneered and waved her hand forward. Rumble. A terrifying sound rang out and shook the surroundings. However, the dark light only shook violently and didn't break. What? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. That was the attack of a third-level honorable. How could it not break? What exactly was that thing? How could it be so powerful? Silver Grandma's face darkened. She didn't expect the cage to be stronger than she had imagined. "Damn brat, where did you get such a treasure?" Her eyes were filled with jealousy. Previously, Lin Xian didn't have it. Now that he had taken out such a treasure, he might have found it here. How lucky. However, this treasure is mine. Silver Grandma's face was ferocious and her eyes were filled with greed. However, Lin Xian sneered in disdain. "You can have fun by yourself." After saying that, he quickly rushed down in the direction where Xiaomei was. "Brat, how dare you!" Silver Grandma was furious. She didn't expect Lin Xian to attack her young miss. Xiaomei was even more shocked. Her eyelids twitched. She had seen how powerful Lin Xian was. She was no match for him at all. "All of you attack!" she screamed. "Yes." Immediately, the 5 people behind her rushed into the sky. Each of them took out a large flag and waved it in the wind. "Brat, die!" The 5 of them shouted as powerful spiritual energy exploded from their bodies. Lin Xian's face darkened. He had been trapped by them before. How could he let them do as they wished this time? He snorted coldly and clenched his fist. A similarly black flag appeared in his hand, emitting a powerful aura. "What, the black dragon flag?" Xiaomei's face changed and then became ferocious. "You dare to kill my people? I want you dead." "Go seize his Yang Qi and kill him," Xiaomei screamed. The 5 of them flew quickly, bringing along a monstrous black fog. They wanted to surround Lin Xian. Buzz. Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul. His arm turned into a real dragon and he quickly threw out the black flag. Bang. The void was pierced. The black flag turned into a black ray of light. It was extremely sharp and quickly pierced through one of the 5 people. A scream was heard. The martial artist was pierced by the black flag and then nailed to the ground. The entire ground cracked and countless cracks spread out. It was a terrifying scene. Blood flowed out. It was a ghastly sight. The surrounding people were stunned. They did not expect this young man in the second heaven to be so terrifying. He trapped a third heaven venerable with one move and broke Blackwater City's dragon formation with another. This is too strong, isn't it? The formation was broken. The other 4 people could not stop Lin Xian at all. Lin Xian stared coldly at Xiao Mei. What do you want to do? Xiao Mei's body trembled. She felt like she had been pierced through. Below, countless martial artists from Blackwater City came forward and surrounded Xiao Mei. They looked at the sky with vigilance. Lin Xian was not afraid of those people. He said coldly, "This is not the first time you have tried to kill me. Do you think I will let you go?" He stepped on a sword ray and rushed downward. Wherever he passed, no one could stop him. He pointed a finger and a sword ray condensed at the tip of his finger. Whoosh! The sword ray cut through the void and arrived in front of Xiao Mei in an instant. It was about to kill her. Bang! At this moment, the void fluctuated, forming a spiraling black dragon that blocked the sword light. Not only that, the black dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws. Its roar shook the sky and burst forth with a powerful force. With a roar, Lin Xian was pushed back. Countless martial artists vomited blood. They were terrified. That sound was too terrifying. They could not withstand it at all. Lin Xian was pushed back. He was shocked and looked forward cautiously. To be able to push him back with just a sound, the person was definitely terrifying. Chapter 883. Blackwater City's City Lord? Since you're here, why hide? Lin Xian said coldly. Lin Xian's voice spread clearly in all directions. Countless people were shocked. The City Lord of Blackwater City was here too? Especially the other 2 major forces. They were shocked and their faces were gloomy. If this was true, they were in danger this time. The City Lord of Blackwater City was a 4th heaven honorable. He had an absolute advantage here. The cultivators stretched their necks and looked in the direction of Blackwater City. At that moment, a deep laugh was heard. "You're young, but you have good eyesight." "That's right, it's me." A figure walked out from behind the people of Blackwater City. This person walked with a majestic gait. His aura was extraordinary and his appearance was ordinary. However, there was a majestic aura around him. What was more shocking was that his aura was too powerful. It swept across the entire area and made people's hearts tremble. 4th heaven. This was the aura of a 4th heaven honorable. Countless people exclaimed. They were now sure that this person was the City Lord of Blackwater City. The people of Iron Sword Sect and Huangfu Clan had ugly expressions. They did not expect the City Lord of Blackwater City, Xiao Li, to really come. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. His expression was solemn. A 4th heaven honorable was indeed powerful. Just the aura alone made his body tense. "Father!" Xiao Mei exclaimed. Her face was filled with joy. "Father, that kid is too despicable. Kill him." Everyone was shocked. If Xiao Li took action, the young man would definitely die. After all, a 4th heaven honorable was too powerful. A 2nd heaven honorable was not someone a 4th heaven honorable could fight against. Xiao Li looked around. When he saw the imprisoned Grandma Silver, he smiled disdainfully. He waved his hand and a vast force surged. Bang! In the distance, the black light formed by the black handkerchief was shattered and scattered on the ground. The black handkerchief trembled slightly and flew back to Lin Xian's hand. "City Lord." Grandma Silver's figure flashed and arrived in front of Xiao Li. Xiao Li nodded slightly. He then looked at Lin Xian. "Do you want to kill yourself to atone for your sins, or do you want me to do it?" His voice contained a tone that did not allow any resistance. Everyone was shocked. They knew that the young man was really going to be in trouble. Dongfang Fengwang's pretty face was also pale, her beautiful eyes filled with worry. Lin Xian also frowned. He didn't have much of a chance of winning against a 4th-rank Venerable Realm cultivator. Of course, it was impossible for the other party to kill him. Therefore, the only thing they could do now was to avoid the brunt of the attack. In a flicker, Lin Xian used the illusory demon steps and flew to the side. "You want to leave? Don't you think you're too naive?" Xiao Li's face was full of disdain as he pointed out a finger. The black spiritual energy converged and formed a huge Jiao dragon. It flew out and attacked Lin Xian. The black dragon roared, shattering the void and striking Lin Xian in an instant. However, Lin Xian's figure soon disappeared into the void. After image. Many people exclaimed, their eyes filled with disbelief. It was too shocking. A young man at the second heavenly layer of the Exalt realm was actually able to escape the attack of a fourth heavenly layer of the Exalt realm. So fast. The experts from the Iron Sword sect and the Huangfu clan were shocked as well. After image. Shaoli was taken aback. This speed is a little surprising. However, do you think you can escape from me with that? Black dragon seals the sky. Shaoli stretched out his palm and a huge black dragon shadow covered the sky. It was dark and had a terrifying aura. 5 black Jiao dragons circled and formed a huge palm that slammed down quickly. Wherever it passed, the void shattered. It was too terrifying. Countless people trembled. The power of a fourth heavenly layer of the Exalt realm was too strong. It was not something they could withstand. Lin Xian was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. He felt a strong pressure and the wind from the palm alone was enough to make his blood boil. Boom. In the next moment he activated the red lotus armor and covered his entire body. At the same time he activated the great dragon sword soul and released a stunning sword chi. Boom. Poof. The terrifying power collided and the sword chi shattered into pieces. Lin Xian was sent flying. However, he was not injured. The red lotus armor had blocked most of the attack and he had neutralized the rest. Moreover, his sword chi was not useless. At least it had slowed down the Jiao dragon palm in the sky. What? He's not dead again? Everyone was shocked. This was too unexpected. They could not believe it. Xiao Mei and the others were also surprised. Luck, it must be luck. How could this kid block the attack of a fourth heavenly layer venerable? Seeing that Lin Xian was not dead, Xiao Li's face darkened. He was embarrassed that he could not kill a second heavenly layer venerable in 2 moves. Humph. He snorted and was ready to attack seriously. He wanted to kill Lin Xian in 1 move. A terrifying aura condensed on his body. It was as if countless Jiao dragons were roaring and intertwining with each other. Seeing that his opponent's aura had increased, Lin Xian's face darkened. His opponent wanted to kill him again and again. Did he really think that he was easy to bully? With a cold gaze, Lin Xian was ready to use the great dragon sword soul to fight with his opponent. Even if he died, he would drag his opponent down with him. Lin Xian focused his gaze and was about to attack. However, at this moment, several air-piercing sounds came from afar. It was accompanied by a delicate shout. A senior attacking a junior. Don't you feel embarrassed? If you attack again, don't blame the Immortal Martial Academy for taking revenge in the future. As the sound spread out, the figure of a martial artist appeared near Lin Xian. They were 3 young cultivators, 1 female and 2 male. Their auras were extraordinary. Immortal Martial Academy, they are from the Immortal Martial Academy. The crowd exclaimed in shock. No wonder, only the geniuses of the Immortal Martial Academy can fight against a 4th heavenly layer venerable with a 2nd heavenly layer cultivation base. Junior brother Lin, junior sister Dongfang, are you guys alright? Bing Ling asked. We're fine. Lin Xian and Dongfang Fenghuang shook their heads. At the same time they heaved a sigh of relief. A 4th heavenly layer venerable, it was still a little difficult for him to fight against them. It seemed like he had to continue cultivating. So you guys are from the Immortal Martial Academy? I didn't know. Shaoli said indifferently, but he was coldly snorting in his heart. Now that Lin Xian had a helper, there was no need for him to attack. Moreover, there were so many people here. If he really attacked, the Immortal Martial Academy might hear about it in the future. At that time, it would be troublesome if he angered such a huge power. Now that you know, why are you still not stopping? Bing Ling coldly snorted. She was clad in a blue robe, her features were elegant and her demeanor was unparalleled. She was truly a peerless beauty. Such an elegant and beautiful woman berating the people of Blackwater City in public. The scene was extremely magnificent. Hearing the berating, Xiao Li's expression sank. The other cultivators of Blackwater City behind him also glared at her with rage. No one had ever dared to berate them like this. If she wasn't a disciple of the Immortal Martial Academy, she would have died long ago. Chapter 884. City Lord, what should we do? Grandma Silver asked. Let them go for now. They're just a few insects. They can't do anything. Once we get the treasure, we'll get rid of them. Then Xiao Li whispered to himself, according to the information I received, the treasure is in this black cauldron. But what is it? Why didn't the higher-ups tell me? Is this the king's treasure? But there's only a big black cauldron and nothing else? Xiaomei asked curiously. This is indeed the location of the king's treasure because King Danyu died here. It's normal that you can't see it because there's an extremely strong seal here. Only by breaking it can we enter the real king's treasure, Xiaoli said slowly. Just wait. Soon the seal will appear automatically. Then I'll have a way to break it. After he finished speaking, a cold smile appeared in Xiaoli's eyes. It was as if breaking the extremely powerful seal in the legends was not a difficult task for him. Xiaomei and the others did not ask any more questions. Instead, they waited obediently at the side. However, she still looked at Lin Xian and the others and made a throat-slitting gesture. Just wait. When I'm done with my business, it'll be your time to die. Xiaomei snorted coldly in her heart. Seeing that Xiao Li, the city lord of Blackwater City, did not attack again, Bing Ling and the others breathed a sigh of relief. After all, a fourth heaven venerable was a terrifying existence. If he really wanted to attack, none of them would be able to stop him. Fortunately, he was afraid of their identities and did not dare to attack them. Alright, he's afraid of our identities now. I'm afraid he won't attack us for a while. But everyone should still be careful, Bing Ling said in a low voice. The five of them gathered together and found an empty place to land. They waited patiently. Night fell and the surrounding temperature dropped. Fortunately, everyone was strong enough to resist the cold with their spiritual energy. At midnight, a ball of light rose and floated in the sky like a bright moon. When it was directly above the sky, the light it cast happened to cover the huge black cauldron. In the next moment, the strange beasts carved on the cauldron began to glow faintly. In the end, it was as if they had come alive. They swam around the cauldron as if they would jump out at any moment. A series of low voices rang out from within the black cauldron. Following that, the entire cauldron was filled with mysterious runes, releasing a peculiar light. The next moment, a mysterious aura spread out in all directions. Everyone was shocked. They stood up one after another and looked ahead. Lin Xian and the other four also opened their eyes. Their gazes flickered as they looked ahead. A king's treasure, this is the aura of a king. Bing Ling's voice trembled when she felt this aura. Inscriptions flickered on the huge black cauldron in front of him. Light intertwined in the air, distorting the surrounding space. Then mysterious runes appeared around the black cauldron, sealing it like a seal. The power emanating from the seal was extremely terrifying. It was even more terrifying than a fourth-level venerable realm cultivator. A casual strike from him would be enough to annihilate everyone present. There's actually a seal. Everyone was shocked. Fortunately, they didn't act rashly before. Otherwise, they might have suffered a calamity. As expected of a king's treasure, even the seal left behind was so powerful. Just this aura alone was unbearable. Bing Ling said in a low voice. Looking at the changes in the black cauldron, the surrounding martial artists all watched silently. None of them acted rashly. However, human greed was limitless. Under such a huge temptation, even though there was a terrifying aura in front, there were still people who were ready to act. After a moment of silence, someone made a move. This was a group of more than 20 people. Although none of them were third-level venerables, there were 7 or 8 second-level venerables. The remaining dozen were all first-level venerables. When such a group of people gathered together, it was extremely terrifying. Seeing that no one made a move, these people took the initiative to step forward and prepared to give it a try. After all, if they succeeded, they would be the first to enter the king's treasure. The benefits they would obtain would be huge. Under such a temptation, even if their lives were in danger, they were willing to take the risk. In the next moment, more than 20 martial artists attacked together, covering the sky and earth with their attacks. The attacks were extremely terrifying. They surged forward like a torrent of the spirit sea. Bang! The sound of a violent collision rang out, and an astonishing amount of energy surged out. Ripples appeared on the mysterious seal as if it was boiling water. However, the power of those people was soon reflected back. The energy that was reflected back was even more terrifying. The momentum was shocking, and it directly sent the 20 venerables flying. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. 20 venerables attacked together, but the frost seal was not broken at all? As expected of the king's treasure. It was indeed powerful. Yang Lin exclaimed. In front, the 20 venerables fell to the ground and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. They all looked miserable and terrified. This scene caused the surrounding martial artists to fall into silence again. The power of the mysterious seal in front of them was beyond their expectations. At this moment, an old man stepped forward and said loudly, "Everyone, I'm sure everyone has seen how terrifying this seal is. Even 20 venerables can't break it. It seems that our forces can't break the defense at all if we act alone. Instead of that, why don't we join forces and attack together? Only then will we have hope of opening the seal. Otherwise we can only stand here and watch. We won't get anything." Hearing this, everyone fell silent and thought in their hearts. The gray-robed old man was right. If they did not join forces, they would not be able to enter at all. Soon those small groups reached an agreement and prepared to attack. That was because if they did not act now, they would really have no chance if those large forces attacked. One had to know that their groups only had 20 to 30 people. They could not compare to a colossus like Blackwater City. Now was their only chance to enter the king's treasure. Soon, countless martial artists soared into the sky and formed a group, preparing to attack. The sky immediately darkened. It was dark and frightening. There were more than 100 teams and there were about 2,000 to 3,000 people in total. They stood in the sky together, densely packed like dark clouds. The auras of the venerables merged into one, forming a huge energy tide. That aura was too powerful. Even a 4th-level venerable would find it difficult to resist. "Should we attack?" Young Lin asked. They were also small groups. If they did not join now, it would be too late. Chapter 885. He had secretly received the dark red divine dragon's voice transmission, telling him not to act rashly. Seeing Lin Xian's solemn expression, Bing Ling and the others nodded. After interacting with each other along the way, they had already recognized Lin Xian's strength and took his words seriously. Now that he had said to wait and see, he must have his reasons. With Lin Xian's reminder, Bing Ling and the others did not act rashly. They still waited and watched from where they were. In the next moment, the thousands of people in the sky attacked at the same time. The entire sky was illuminated by endless light. This attack was too terrifying. No one could block the attack of thousands of martial artists at the same time. However, this terrifying attack bombarded the seal in front of them and was once again fiercely reflected. Moreover, the rebound force was even more powerful than the previous attack. Countless energy waves visible to the naked eye spread out in all directions and bombarded the venerables in the sky, sending them flying. Blood splattered everywhere and dyed the sky red. Without exception, all the venerables were bombarded. Seeing this scene, everyone trembled violently and sucked in a breath of cold air. This attack was too terrifying. Thousands of people could not break it. Was this king's treasure really unbreakable? Bing Ling, Yang Lin, and the others were even more shocked. If Lin Xian had not reminded them, they would have gone up. If that had happened, they would have been seriously injured. Thinking of this, they felt a lingering fear. The people from the Iron Sword sect and the Huangfu clan were also shocked and frowned. The force condensed in the sky was not weaker than any of them. Even so, it did not break. This meant that even if they went up, they would not stand a chance. On the other hand, the people from Blackwater City were calm. Shaoli stood at the front with his hands behind his back. He looked forward with a disdainful smile. In front of them, the huge black cauldron also changed after being hit. Countless rays of light condensed above the black cauldron and quickly formed a human figure. Soon, the human figure gradually solidified and finally became a 16 or 17-year-old young man. He had delicate features and a thin figure. He looked up at the void. Seeing the young man's figure suddenly appear, everyone was stunned. They did not expect the young man's figure to appear. However, in the next moment they were extremely frightened. This was because the handsome young man was emitting a powerful and terrifying aura that far surpassed the venerables. King's aura. Countless people trembled and wanted to worship him. Those who were weaker knelt on the ground and trembled. King Red Feather. He is King Red Feather. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding cultivators were all shocked. Even the experts from the 3 major forces were greatly shocked. They had never seen King Pillfeather before, but they had heard of his legends countless times. But they never would have thought that King Pillfeather was actually a youth. Bing Ling and the others were also shocked as they stared blankly ahead. Lin Xian frowned. Wasn't this King Pillfeather a little too young? He seemed to be even younger than him. So that's how it is. Lin Xian understood. Just from this point alone, it could be seen that kings were extraordinary. It had to be known that the experts in the respected realm were generally old men, because those experts were old monsters who had lived for nearly 1,000 years. How could such a person be young? But a king could still maintain his youth even if he was old. It was not as simple as appearance. It meant that a king's physique had surpassed a venerable's and reached a new height. At the front, the young man looked around at the crowd and sighed. Seeing the young man's action, everyone was shocked again. The young man's figure was no different from a real person. What's going on? Did King Red Feather come back to life? Many people were frightened and prepared to escape. This is only a wisp of King Red Feather's soul imprint. He did not really come back to life. The dragon said. A wisp of soul imprint. Lin Xian exclaimed. As expected of a king. Just a wisp of soul imprint was so powerful. How powerful would a real king be? Everyone beneath the king realm is an ant. This isn't wrong at all, said the dark red divine dragon. Kid, you'll understand once you attain the king realm. The king realm. Lin Xian clenched his fists tightly while a brilliant glow erupted from his eyes. He must attain the king realm. King Red Feather looked around and sighed. His eyes were filled with vicissitudes. You are King Red Feather? Suddenly Shaoli stood out and asked in a deep voice. As soon as these words came out, countless gazes immediately looked over, and all of them exclaimed in surprise. What is Shaoli trying to do? Everyone was puzzled. Even if he was a 4th level venerables and the other party had a soul imprint, the difference between them was like the difference between heaven and earth. To stand out now was no different from courting death. Sure enough, King Red Feather looked at Shaoli and shook his head. You are too weak. There are so many people here but there is no king. Not even a half-king. Do I have to give my treasures to you ants? This voice was filled with endless lament. Everyone below the king realm was an ant. Even if there were 4th level venerables and geniuses here, they were all ants in the eyes of a king realm cultivator. You are very courageous to talk to me. However, a king realm cultivator is inviolable. Next is your punishment. King Red Feather raised his finger and a ray of light shot out. It shattered the void and instantly arrived before Shaoli. Shaoli's pupils shrank, and his expression changed. The speed was too fast and he didn't have time to react. By the time he saw it, the attack had already arrived before him. The ray of light was only as thick as a chopstick, but the power it contained was too terrifying. It wasn't something he could resist at his level. He raised his hand with difficulty, wanting to take out something. Boom. Just as the ray of light was about to pierce through him, a palm-sized jade token appeared in his storage ring and blocked in front of him. Bang! Bang! An earth-shattering explosion rang out, and a terrifying blast of light enveloped the entire world. Everyone retreated in fear. Many of them even vomited blood and were sent flying. They couldn't withstand the shockwaves at all. Lin Xian and the others also retreated. They felt like a small boat in a raging sea that could capsize at any time. Red Lotus Battle Armor. Lin Xian shouted, and a layer of red battle armor covered his body, forming a solid defense. Bing Ling and the others also used all sorts of methods to protect themselves. Winds howled, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. It was as if the world had arrived at the end of the world. After a long time, the terrifying turbulence gradually disappeared, and the world returned to normal. Chapter 886. What? He blocked it? Everyone's eyeballs almost fell out of their sockets when they saw the scene in the distance. Lin Xian and the others also frowned. Their expressions were solemn because they saw that Shaoli was still standing near the black cauldron. He was not dead. This was too unbelievable. One had to know that that was an attack from a king. How could a 4th level venerable block it? No, Shaoli didn't block it. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he stared at the jade token in front of Shaoli. The token was emitting a terrifying aura. Heavens, what is that? Everyone also noticed this scene and exclaimed. Shaoli has a token that can block a king's attack? What treasure is that? Everyone was envious and shocked at the same time. The other party could actually take out such a thing. It seemed that Blackwater City was well prepared. What king? It's just a soul imprint that's about to disappear. A disdainful voice sounded in the void. Everyone was shocked and their minds went blank. Who was this? Who dared to say such big words? However, in the next moment they were so shocked that they could not speak. This was because the jade token floating in the air suddenly emitted a powerful aura that swept out in all directions. The aura was too strong, and it carried an unquestionable sense of oppression. Its power was not inferior to that of King Danyu at all. The aura of a king. This is the aura of a king. How is this possible? Everyone was shocked and their bodies trembled. Bing Ling and the others also looked solemn as they kept retreating. Lin Xian frowned as he stared at the beautiful woman's token. The jade token emitted a dazzling light, and then a figure walked out of the token. It was an old man with the demeanor of a transcendent being. However, his eyes were somewhat gloomy, and his body carried a supreme aura and the dignity of a person who had been in a high position for a long time. This aura was too terrifying. It was as if 100,000 demonic mountains were pressing down on the void, and it was so shocking that everyone could not breathe. A king. It's a king. Countless people were frightened and exclaimed in their hearts. Too shocking, too shocking. They did not expect that two kings would appear in such a short period of time. A king? Lin Xian also exclaimed, and his pupils shrank. He didn't expect Blackwater City to be related to kings. How was that possible? Lin Xian was not the only one who was shocked. The people from the Iron Sword sect and the Huangfu family were just as shocked. There was even a trace of fear on their faces. Although Blackwater City was powerful, it was only limited to the Blackwater River basin. It was nothing compared to the entire Blood Realm. However, if there really was a king behind the Blackwater River, then it would be different. With such a status, how could they be willing to stay in the Blackwater River? Old Monster Su from the Iron Sword sect and the middle-aged expert from the Huangfu family were both shocked and confused. Originally, the three of them were evenly matched, but now it seemed that this was not the case at all. Their opponent, Blackwater City, seemed to have an unspeakable identity and secret. It's not a king. It's just a clone. At this moment, the dark red divine dragon transmitted its voice. King's clone. Lin Xian frowned, and the shock in his eyes became even more intense. Even a clone could create such a terrifying aura. As expected of a top expert of the continent. King's clone? At this moment, King Dan Feather spoke softly, his voice carrying a great pressure. Interesting. I didn't expect that my treasure would attract a king. I just don't know if your clone can break my seal. If it was a few hundred years ago, my clone might not be able to break it. But now, how much power does your seal have left? The mysterious king's clone coldly asked. Time is merciless. There is no need for the dead to remain in this world. The conversation between the two caused a huge uproar. Countless people were shocked. A king's clone? This was just a clone? But whose clone was this? While everyone was shocked, they were also very curious. There were only a few kings in the Jianghu continent. They could be counted on one hand. The king's clone in front of them was definitely one of them. For a moment, all kinds of guesses spread through the crowd. At this moment, the king's avatar in front of him suddenly made a move. A terrifying aura surged from his body, and the surrounding spiritual chi quickly gathered like waves, forming a quaint purple seal that blasted downward. That purple seal was as large as a mountain. The inscriptions on it were profound, and it was filled with a mysterious aura. Rays of purple light fell down like auspicious sunbeams. Each ray was enough to shatter the void. Boom. As soon as the purple seal condensed, it smashed down on King Dan Feather. King Dan Feather coldly snorted. He took out a medicinal pill and threw it into the air. Brr. In the next moment, a terrifying roar rang out, shaking the 9 heavens and causing the surrounding cultivators to tremble. A huge black figure appeared in the air. It was indomitable and extremely terrifying. It was a demonic beast with the head of a tiger and the body of an elephant. Its entire body was covered in poisonous spikes, and it had a pair of blue wings on its back. A terrifying demonic chi filled the world. Jiangchi. Is Jiangchi? Someone cried out in alarm, their eyes filled with fear. This kind of demonic beast that existed only in legends had actually appeared? Hearing this voice, countless people were shocked and speechless. They could only stand there in a daze. A battle medicinal pill? You really do have such means. On the opposite side, the mysterious king's clone said coldly, Today, let me see how much strength your broken soul can unleash. In the next moment, the mysterious king's clone snorted coldly. He waved his arm, and the purple seal in the air descended. Brr. Jiangchi roared angrily below. It flapped its wings and pounced forward. Bang. A shocking tremor rang out, and the entire space shook. Countless cracks filled the void as if it would shatter at any time. This was a king's power. A casual attack was so terrifying. Lin Xian looked up, his heart filled with shock. This kind of attack was too powerful. It could destroy an area with a raise of its hand. This was the kind of power he yearned for. Not good. Jiangchi is being suppressed. The seal is also dimming, Bing Ling exclaimed. Lin Xian looked carefully. Indeed, the purple seal continued to fall, gradually suppressing Jiangchi. Time is merciless. That elixir king is only a soul mark. It can't unleash much power. The dark red dragon sighed. Hearing this, Lin Xian fell silent. He knew that the seal was about to be broken. It seems that the seal is about to be broken. Let's get ready to enter at any time, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Hearing this, Bing Ling and the others were also shocked and excited. Who wouldn't be excited to be able to enter the legendary king's treasure? Not only them but all the surrounding cultivators were extremely excited. They all looked forward with fiery eyes. Chapter 887. The horrifying aura in front of them was vast and mighty, forming a scene of destruction. The surrounding people moved quickly, preparing to enter the king's treasure. The howling of the wind between heaven and earth became softer, and the horrifying aura gradually faded as well. The sound of glass breaking rang out. Everyone knew that it was the sound of the seal breaking. Countless people spat out saliva, looking excited. They knew that the seal around the king's treasure had finally been broken. Xiao Li laughed sinisterly. His body flashed, and he led the people of Black Dragon City into the sky like a flood. Seeing the people of Blackwater City taking the lead, Old Monster Su from Iron Sword Sect and the middle-aged man from Huangfu family also roared and led their own teams to charge forward. The surrounding people also quickly rose into the sky like locusts, flying forward in a dense pack. "Let's go too," Bing Ling said in a low voice, looking very serious. Finally, Lin Xian and the other four gathered together. Like a sharp sword, they quickly shuttled through the void. Soon they entered the place where the seal had been sealed. An aura of desolation and vicissitudes rushed over, causing one's heart to tremble. Countless teams advanced toward the huge black cauldron in front of them. As if it felt the disturbance of these intruders, the huge black cauldron trembled quickly, emitting a black light. The strange beasts carved on the cauldron came to life at this moment. They kept moving around, roaring ferociously. Then, under the shocked eyes of the crowd, they quickly rushed out of the black cauldron and pounced on the crowd. When the crowd saw this, their scalps went numb and their faces were filled with horror. This scene was too horrifying and strange. The carvings on the cauldron came to life and became real demonic beasts. It was hard to believe. Many people thought that this was an illusion used to confuse people. After a while, they abandoned this idea because there were countless screams in front of them. It was obvious that those martial artists had been attacked. A pungent smell of blood quickly spread out, and the entire sky was filled with panic. Deep roars sounded with terrifying killing intent. More and more demonic beasts flew out of the huge black cauldron and rushed toward the crowd. "Run!" When some timid martial artists saw this scene, they did not dare to stay and quickly fled into the distance. However, there were even more martial artists whose eyes were bloodshot. Their voices were filled with rage. "Kill them all, enter the enormous black cauldron, and seize the king's treasure." For a time the sky was in chaos. All kinds of screams and sounds of battle rose and fell. The entire sky was filled with battles. However, they still underestimated those demonic beasts. Those demonic beasts were not real. They were illusions created by the mysterious power of the Black Cauldron. They seemed endless and tireless. They were indeed powerful when they worked together, but against these monsters that did not know fear and pain, they had to pay a heavy price to be able to advance. However, in this chaos there was a group that rushed the fastest, and that was Blackwater City. Under the leadership of Blackwater City's city lord, Xiao Li, the entire Blackwater City was like a sharp black blade, rapidly shuttling through the sky. Other than City Lord Xiao Li, who was a 4th-level venerable, there were also dozens of 3rd-level venerables. When these forces gathered together, they formed a terrifying force that quickly tore apart the black demonic beasts. Seeing Blackwater City's speed, the surrounding martial artists were shocked. That speed was too fast. It was not something they could compare to. Behind Blackwater City were the Iron Sword Sect and the Huangfu family. At this moment, they were chasing with all their might. "Let's speed up too," Bing Ling said in a deep voice. Her slender hand swiped across her storage ring, and a blue ice staff appeared in her hand. Immediately, it emitted a monstrous cold aura. She waved the ice staff and easily froze the surrounding demonic beasts into ice sculptures. "This ice staff is terrifying." Lin Xian was shocked. The power was a little too great. "Hee kid, don't be surprised. It cost a lot of spiritual value points to exchange for it from the True Spirit Hall. This ice spring staff is extremely famous among the top spiritual treasures," Yang Lin said in a booming voice. "Alright, let's go. With the ice spring staff, we should be able to increase our speed by quite a bit," Bing Ling said in a deep voice. "Since that's the case, I'll help everyone again." Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm and his fingers danced. Then, a blue ice lotus appeared under everyone's feet. "This is..." Seeing the blue ice lotus under their feet and feeling the terrifying aura emitted from it, everyone was shocked. They did not expect Lin Xian to have an ice attribute treasure. Especially Bing Ling, her beautiful face was filled with shock. According to what she knew, Lin Xian was not an ice attribute martial artist. Now he was able to display such a powerful ice attribute move. It seemed that he had a fortuitous encounter in the king's treasure. A fortuitous encounter. This was something that could not be envied. Moreover, she had also obtained a few good items in the king's treasure. Taking a deep breath, Bing Ling calmed down again and said in a deep voice, "This is good. If the two of us work together, we should be able to display our maximum speed." Okay. Lin Xian nodded. Then the two of them used their techniques and moved forward quickly. The huge ice lotus rotated like a blue stream of light, carrying everyone forward. Wherever it passed, cold air would spread, forming a frost zone. Bing Ling waved her ice staff and formed ice mountains, blocking all the demonic beasts that pounced on them. Indeed, when the two of them worked together, their speed increased greatly. Although there were only 5 of them, their speed was not any slower than the people from Iron Sword sect. In the sky, everyone flew towards the Black Cauldron with all their might. However, the further they went, the more demonic beasts there were. It was as if they had gone crazy, desperately blocking everyone's path. Arriving here, everyone's speed slowed down. Even Blackwater City, which was the fastest, had to slow down. Moreover, the casualties caused by this attack were extremely terrifying. The air was filled with the pungent smell of blood. The blood had gathered into a river, which was a ghastly sight. Many people from each force had died in the attack. Blackwater City had even lost a 3rd-rank honorable martial artist. One could imagine how terrifying it was. Lin Xian and the rest were strong. With the protection of the Icy Spring Staff and the Ice Lotus Martial Soul, they did not suffer any casualties. However, the 5 of them looked solemn as they moved forward carefully. It was too terrifying. What exactly was that Black Cauldron? How could it create so many demonic beasts? Yang Lin's heart was still pounding. Everyone be careful. Don't get hurt. Bing Ling reminded. Ah, look. The people from Blackwater City are moving again. Yi Yan's eyes flashed as he exclaimed. Lin Xian and the rest turned their heads and saw that the martial artists from Blackwater City had started to disperse. They formed small teams and rushed forward from different directions. This was because they realized that the more martial artists gathered, the greater the impact of the demonic beasts. If there were fewer people, it might be a good thing. This was also one of the reasons why Lin Xian and the rest were not injured. Chapter 888. The next moment, the team split up and rushed forward. Their speed was indeed much faster than before. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. Old Monster Su from the Iron Sword sect and the Huangfu family looked pale. Soon they decided to use the same method. What should we do? Yang Lin asked. Bing Ling and the others were deep in thought. Lin Xian said slowly, "How about this? I'll go stop Xiao Mei and the others. After all, they have the water dragon pill. Might be useful. If no one stops them, the treasure might be taken away before we reach it. But it's too dangerous. It's not good for you to go out alone." Bing Ling shook her head. "You still don't believe me? I won't do something that will kill me." Lin Xian smiled. "Okay, be careful. Don't force yourself." Seeing Lin Xian's insistence, Bing Ling could only nod in agreement. Then Lin Xian's body flashed. Like a sharp sword, he flew forward quickly, piercing through all the beasts in his path. Although there were more beasts here, Lin Xian's speed was even faster than before. He had no scruples at all. He went all out and was extremely fast. His body emitted an icy sword light. Not only was it sharp, but the icy power could also reduce the speed of the beasts around him. He ran all the way and finally arrived near the Black Cauldron. Lin Xian's body flashed. He rushed up and plunged into the Black Cauldron. He was very careful because the 2 king-level doppelgangers were still fighting in the void above the Black Cauldron. The 2 king-level doppelgangers were in a stalemate and did not have the energy to care about what was happening below. Therefore Lin Xian went in without any danger. The Black Cauldron was huge, so the space inside was also very spacious. It was like a city. It was dimly lit inside, and wisps of mist blocked his vision. Even with Lin Xian's powerful soul senses, he could only sense things within a radius of 100 meters. Fortunately, he was very fast. It was not difficult to search the entire Black Cauldron. Soon he found a head. The head was sparkling and translucent like a crystal. It was surrounded by multicolored light and emitted a mysterious aura. Lin Xian didn't know what the skull was for, but his instincts told him that it was a rare treasure. His figure flashed and he was about to go down to search for the treasure and take the crystal head away. However, at this moment, a powerful sound of something breaking through the air came from behind, and a terrifying spiritual energy rushed toward him. Umph. Lin Xian snorted and unleashed a sword aura with the back of his hand. Boom. Immediately after, a terrifying explosion rang out, and violent energy waves wreaked havoc like a raging tide. Lin Xian took a step back and the person behind him also let out a muffled groan. Taking advantage of this gap, Lin Xian used Dragon Capturing Hand and caught the crystal skeleton in his hand. Thief, hurry up and hand over the treasure or today will be the day you die. A furious roar rang out. That voice was filled with anger. Immediately after, a rapid sound of something breaking through the air came from behind, and Xiao Mei flew over angrily. She was holding a glowing blue pill in her hand. It was the water spiritual pill. Behind Xiao Mei were Grandma Silver and two other ancient martial art practitioners. The two ancient martial art practitioners had powerful auras, and their expressions were cold. It was obvious that their cultivation had reached the third heaven of the honorable realm. Damn thief, I must kill you. Xiao Mei's face was ferocious, and her body trembled continuously. She had the water dragon pill to guide her, and at the same time she was escorted by 3 third heaven honorables. Her speed was extremely fast, and she thought that she would be the first to reach the Black Cauldron and obtain the rare treasure. However, things were beyond her expectations. Lin Xian had entered earlier than her, and he had even obtained the rare treasure. Hand over the rare treasure and I can spare your life. I can even let you leave safely, Xiao Mei said in a low voice. Leave safely? Do you think I will believe you? Lin Xian sneered, holding the crystal skeleton with a look of disdain. Damn it. Grandma Silver, the 3 of you attack together and kill him. Xiao Mei's voice was cold. Then, Grandma Silver and 2 other third heaven honorables walked out, and the 3 of them formed a triangle surrounding Lin Xian. Without any superfluous words, Grandma Silver immediately displayed the black flood dragon flag. It fluttered loudly and black aura drooped down like a flood dragon, protecting her body. She was still traumatized by Lin Xian's imprisonment, so when she saw Lin Xian, her first reaction was to defend herself. The other 2 also released light from their bodies, forming a solid defense. Then the 3 of them stared at Lin Xian with cold killing intent. Brat, you are very strong and lucky to have obtained the rare treasure, but you have no chance of survival against us. Grandma Silver's voice was ferocious. She really wanted to kill Lin Xian. Moreover, she believed that they would succeed this time because if the 3 of them joined forces, they would definitely be able to kill him. The combined strength of 3 third heaven honorables was extremely terrifying. It didn't matter if the opponent was a prodigy or not, no one could escape from the combined strength of 3 third heaven honorables. Seeing that the 3 of them had joined forces, the leader's face darkened and his eyes were cold. Indeed, the combined strength of 3 honorables gave him a lot of pressure, and under such circumstances, it was difficult for his black handkerchief to restrain one of them. However, although the situation was difficult, he wasn't afraid. At least, if he really wanted to leave, these people definitely wouldn't be able to stop him. If you want the rare treasure, then exchange it with your lives. Lin Xian sneered. You are courting death. Grandma Silver roared. She didn't expect Lin Xian to still be so stubborn. As her voice fell, the hillman quickly attacked, and a terrifying and vast energy rushed toward Lin Xian from 3 directions. Grandma Silver waved the black flag, and a black dragon rushed out with a ferocious roar. It carried a strange and eerie energy as it rushed toward Lin Xian. The other 2 also attacked quickly, and a gray flame and a dazzling blade light shot out. Lin Xian snorted coldly and his feet turned. He quickly moved through the void like a ghost, leaving behind countless afterimages. He used the illusory demonic steps, and even the third heaven honorables couldn't lock onto him, so their attacks all missed. However, in the next moment, the 3 of them joined forces and formed an ancient mirror that was as black as ink. It floated in the air, and a black light shot out, and Lin Xian was knocked out of the void. We knew that you were fast, so how could we not be prepared? Don't struggle, today is the day you die. Die, brat. The 3 of them stepped forward step by step, and their faces were filled with ferocious smiles. Lin Xian was blasted out of the void by a strange force, and his qi and blood surged. His whole body felt like it was about to split open. He was extremely shocked. The other party really did have a way to deal with him. Humph. Chapter 889. In the next moment he pulled out the wind shadow sword and quickly drew in the air. A strange aura spread out as the surrounding spiritual energy surged and gathered into a wave that surged towards him. Oh no, this kid is going to use some ultimate skill. Everyone stop him. Feeling the terrifying aura, Grandma Silver's face darkened as she shouted angrily. The three of them took out their dragon flags and quickly waved them in the air. Black clouds covered the city as a terrifying and oppressive aura exploded. It was like a demonic cloud that was about to envelop Lin Xian. Lin Xian waved the long sword in his hand and drew a strange trajectory in the air. A terrifying and vast power spread out, filling the entire sky in an instant. Gale Lightning Sword, 3 swords scares ghosts and gods. Lin Xian's expression was cold as his deep voice sounded. The long sword in his hand suddenly pierced out and a sharp sword aura exploded. Up above, the void trembled as 3 huge sword shadows fell, slashing down viciously. With one strike the air was shattered. Earth-grade martial arts. Feeling the terrifying aura, Grandma Silver and the other two's faces changed as they screamed in horror. They did not expect the young man in front of them to have mastered an Earth-grade martial arts. Earth-grade martial arts were peerless treasures that even their city lord had not mastered. But now, a young man had actually executed such a terrifying martial arts. Feeling the terrifying sword aura, the 3 scalps went numb. They did not dare to be careless and used all their strength to form a solid defense in front of them. Countless black gas flew out from the black flag and quickly intertwined in front of the 3. 3 dragons surged out and formed a black dragon diagram. The black light emitted a powerful energy. It was obvious that this was an extremely strong defense. In the next moment, the 3 huge sword shadows in the air fell and slammed into the black light screen. A low and terrifying sound rang out as countless air waves surged up into the sky. The black light screen formed by the 3 dragons only lasted for a moment before it shattered. Then the 3 powerful sword auras slammed into Grandma Silver and the other 2, sending them flying. Bang! The 3 of them spat out mouthfuls of blood and were in a sorry state. Their bodies flew out and crashed into the black cauldron with a rumbling sound. The 3 of them were almost cut in half by this attack. Seeing this scene, Xiao Mei screamed in horror from afar. She could not believe that Lin Xian had such terrifying strength that he could injure 3 third heaven venerables with a single strike. This was too terrifying. Most likely, only a 4th heaven venerable realm cultivator would be able to accomplish this. And what was Lin Xian's cultivation level? He was only a 2nd rank venerable. Thinking of this, her scalp went numb. Not daring to stay any longer, she turned around and twisted her waist in an attempt to escape. She really didn't dare to stay any longer. Otherwise she would probably end up in a miserable state. Therefore she had to leave quickly. Lin Xian sneered when he heard the sound of Xiao Mei fleeing. This vicious woman had tried to take his life time and time again. Did she really think that he was easy to bully? Stretching out his palm, Lin Xian used Dragon Capturing Hand, forming 2 light dragons. They roared ferociously and rushed out, binding Xiao Mei in an instant. Then Lin Xian jerked his arm and pulled her to his side. "What are you trying to do?" Xiao Mei screamed in horror. "You're dead if you dare to touch me. My father won't let you off." Seeing this scene, the eyelids of the Silver Granny and the other 2 twitched wildly. They endured the injuries in their bodies and quickly stood up. They said hatefully, "Thief, if you dare to touch our young lady, you won't be able to live in this world. Scram. Don't let me see you. Otherwise I'll kill her right now." After saying that, Lin Xian exerted more force in his palm, and Xiao Mei screamed again. The Silver Granny looked conflicted, but she did not leave. They had received orders to obtain the rare treasure. "Thief, if you dare to touch our young lady, the city lord won't let you off." Xiao Mei screamed. "My father will be here soon. If you dare to touch me, you're dead. I advise you to let me go and leave the rare treasure behind. Maybe I'll spare your life if I'm in a good mood. You're about to die and you still dare to say such things. Do you really think I don't dare to kill you?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. He exerted more force in his palm and broke one of Xiao Mei's arms. Xiao Mei screamed in a heart-wrenching voice. "Haha, I knew you wouldn't dare to kill me. When my father comes, I'll break every bone in your body. I'll make you wish you were dead. Don't dare to kill you? You're too confident." Lin Xian sneered and shattered Xiao Mei's body. Bang! In an instant, all the bones in Xiao Mei's body were shattered. The spiritual ocean in her dantian was also destroyed. At this moment Xiao Mei finally felt fear. Without her cultivation she was a cripple. If that was really the case, she'd rather die. In the distance, Grandma Silver and the others were also shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to really kill her. In the sky, another violent energy fluctuation came. Boundless spiritual energy swept out in all directions. The entire sky was quickly annihilated, forming a huge black hole. The king's aura that had been suppressing everyone's hearts also gradually dissipated. Countless people looked up at the sky, their faces full of shock. The two figures in the sky were gradually fading as if they were about to disappear. Looking at this scene, everyone was shocked. It seemed that the king's aura had disappeared. If that was really the case, then they could all enter the Black Cauldron. Lin Xian's expression changed. It seemed that the king's avatar and King Pillfeather's remnant soul had perished together. Xiao Lai and the others would probably enter soon. Thinking of this, Lin Xian took the dying Xiao Mei and quickly ran away. However, just as he moved, the void suddenly split open. A terrifying fist ruthlessly smashed towards him. The power was incomparably shocking. It was like a black flood dragon. It was powerful to the extreme. Lin Xian's body suddenly tensed. He felt a wave of deathly energy that seemed to want to tear him apart. In an instant, he quickly used the Red Lotus battle armor and the illusory demonic steps to retreat. However, he was still swept by the fist. Lin Xian's body trembled, and he was quickly sent flying. Fortunately, the Red Lotus battle armor was extremely powerful and blocked most of the power. Otherwise, this attack would have torn his body apart. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Lin Xian coldly looked ahead. Countless cracks appeared on the Red Lotus battle armor in front of his chest, as if it was about to split open. One could imagine just how terrifying that fist was. There was only one person who could put Lin Xian in such danger, and that was Blackwater City's city lord, Xiao Lai. As expected, the void rippled and Xiao Lai quickly flew over. He grabbed the dying Xiao Mei and threw her to Grandma Silver and the others. Then he turned around and gloomily looked at Lin Xian. His killing intent surged, turning into sharp blades that pierced through the void. "Brat, you're the first person who dared to provoke my Blackwater City. I'll let you know what regret is." Chapter 890. Lin Xian's pupils constricted and he quickly summoned his Ice Lotus martial spirit to block in front of him. The Blue Lotus rotated, forming 9 blue ice swords that slashed forward. Bang bang bang. That fist was too terrifying, directly shattering the 9 blue ice swords. Then the fist landed on the blue martial spirit, sending it flying. Off. Lin Xian groaned and spat out another mouthful of blood. A 4th level venerable was indeed powerful. With his current strength, he couldn't contend against him. Unless he summoned his great dragon sword spirit and fought with his life on the line. "Brat, hand over the item and I'll leave you with an intact corpse." Xiao Li's voice was cold as he walked over step by step. Lin Xian's eyes darkened. He kept his Ice Lotus martial spirit and prepared to summon his great dragon sword spirit. However, neither of them noticed that the blood dripping from Lin Xian's mouth landed on the crystal skull in his hand and quickly merged with it. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from afar. Several powerful auras rushed over. "Junior brother Lin, we're here to help you." A feminine voice rang out. Instantly, the space behind them was torn apart as several figures appeared like lightning. With a flash of light, Bing Ling and the rest appeared beside Lin Xian, looking at Xiao Li and the rest warily. "Good ability, daring to injure a disciple of the Immortal Martial Academy. We'll remember this grudge," Bing Ling said coldly. Yang Lin also said coldly, "Blackwater City, right? Wait for the wrath of the Immortal Martial Academy." Eastern Phoenix and the rest looked at Xiao Li with anger. "Ha ha ha, today is the day you die. As long as you all die, no one will know that I killed you. No matter how powerful those old monsters are, they won't be able to find me." Xiao Li's expression turned malevolent. Behind him, more than 10 cultivators rushed out and formed a huge arc, sealing the entire space. "Today I'll let you know how powerful I am. In front of absolute strength, all geniuses are useless." Xiao Li took a step forward and the aura on his body exploded like a flood. Terrifying spiritual energy gushed out, easily tearing the space apart. "Previously I was just playing with you. Now I will let you know the true strength of a 4th level venerable." Xiao Li floated in the air and looked down. His expression was disdainful and his aura was incomparably violent. Previously he had not used his full strength. Now that he had used his full strength, the momentum was extremely terrifying. Even if Bing Ling and the other 4 joined forces, they would not be able to withstand it. At this moment, Granny Silver also said in a deep voice, "City Lord, the young lady's cultivation has been crippled by that brat, and all the bones in her body have been shattered. If there isn't any heaven-defying spiritual medicine, I'm afraid there's nothing she can do." Hearing this, Xiao Li's pupils abruptly shrank as a terrifying light burst out from his eyes. His originally dignified face was now incomparably distorted. He stared coldly at Lin Xian. "Brat, I won't kill you. I will cripple your martial arts, break all the bones in your body and let you live like a dog. The harm you've done to me, I will return it 100-fold. Humph, what's so great about being a 4th-level venerable? Catch me first." Lin Xian snorted coldly. His expression was extremely solemn, but there was not much respect in his voice. If he was really forced into a corner, he would just summon the great dragon sword soul regardless of the consequences and fight with his life. Although his opponent was powerful, he did not believe that his opponent could withstand the attack of the great dragon sword soul if he did not care about his life. However, that kind of consumption would be too great. Once Lin Xian used it, he would be extremely weak. Obviously, he could not use it casually in a place full of danger. However, if his opponent really forced him into a corner, he would drag his opponent down with him even if he had to die. Shameless boasting. I'll let you know the difference between us. Xiao Li's expression was cold as he stretched out his palm. A terrifying aura filled the air. That fist was too terrifying, and the energy it carried made Lin Xian and the other 4 feel fearful. "Let's attack together." Bing Ling shouted and waved the icy spring staff in her hand. It formed an ice mountain and blasted upwards. At the same time, Dongfang Fenghuang and the others also attacked with powerful attacks. Countless rays of light flashed and a deafening roar sounded. Various rays of light shot into the sky as if the entire void was about to explode. However, what shocked the 5 of them was that under their terrifying attacks, the fist was not hindered at all. It blasted towards them quickly. So terrifying. Bing Ling and the others narrowed their eyes and kept retreating. Was this the power of a level 4 honorable realm? It was indeed powerful. Even if they attacked with all their might, it would be difficult for them to resist. Boom. The terrifying fist landed, and the power directly shattered the void. The energy shockwave struck everyone, causing quite a bit of damage. Bing Ling and the others cried out and spat out a mouthful of blood. They looked up in horror. A bunch of ants who don't know what's good for them. This is the difference between honorables. Xiao Li put his hands behind his back and looked disdainful. As the honorable realm increased, the difference between each level would become larger. In other words, it would be more difficult to challenge someone of a higher level. Unless one was an extremely monstrous genius or a martial artist who had a precious treasure in his hands, only then could he challenge someone of a higher level. Otherwise, it would be difficult for anyone to break through the shackles of this level. "Kid, hand over the treasure in your hands and I can consider giving you a quick death. Otherwise, I will let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. These companions of yours will accompany you to experience endless pain." Lin Xian looked up and his eyes flashed. It seemed that he could only use the great dragon sword soul. However, after using this power he would become weak. However, he could not care less about this now. If he wanted to live, he had to get rid of Xiao Li. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian quickly activated the longevity incantation and prepared to use the great dragon sword soul. However, in the next moment, the crystal skull in his hand was dyed red with blood and emitted a dazzling light. The entire space was dyed red by a layer of crimson light. Then the space trembled slightly. At first it was very weak, but it gradually became stronger. It was as if someone was shaking the entire black cauldron. Even the surrounding spiritual qi was boiling violently. This unforeseen event directly alarmed everyone. The faces of the martial artists who had just entered changed as they looked around nervously. They were really afraid of being tortured by the black demonic beast. They were afraid that something strange would happen again. In the void, Xiao Li did not make a move. Instead, his face was gloomy and his eyes quickly scanned the surroundings. He did not expect this to happen. Bing Ling and the others were even more shocked. They quickly gathered together and prepared to deal with the unexpected situation. Lin Xian frowned because he had already noticed the abnormality of the crystal skull in his hand. "Kid, quickly leave this black cauldron." The dark red dragon quickly sent a message with a hint of anxiety in his voice. Hearing this, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. "Quickly say that and leave this place quickly." Chapter 891. Countless things had proven that Lin Xian's choice was correct. This time, they did not hesitate and quickly followed behind Lin Xian, preparing to leave. "Want to leave? Not so easy." Seeing Lin Xian and the others leaving, Xiao Li snorted and stretched out his hand, wanting to grab them. The void fluctuated and a black palm covered the sky, grabbing at Lin Xian and the others. The 5 fingers were like 5 dragons, roaring ferociously with a terrifying momentum. However, in the next moment, an even more terrifying force exploded. The surrounding spiritual energy quickly condensed, forming a black storm that swept through the 9 heavens. The momentum was countless times more terrifying than Xiao Li's palm. In an instant, the black dragon hand formed by Xiao Li shattered in the black storm. What kind of power is this? It's so terrifying. Seeing that his attack was shattered, Xiao Li's pupils shrank, and his expression was full of shock. One had to know that he had used all his strength just now. At the same time, the walls of the black cauldron emitted bursts of light, forming mysterious ancient characters with a mysterious aura. Mysterious ancient characters appeared inside the black cauldron, enveloping the surroundings and emitting a mysterious aura. Could it be that this black cauldron is the unique treasure of the king's treasure? Xiao Li was shocked and doubtful. He had received orders from above to obtain the unique treasure of the king's treasure. Originally, he had thought that it was the crystal skull in Lin Xian's hand, but now it seemed that it was not necessarily the case. The mysterious aura emitted by this black cauldron was too strange. It was very likely that it was the unique treasure of the king's treasure. Feeling the terrifying aura emitted by the mysterious ancient characters, Xiao Li was even more certain of his guess. However, soon, his expression became extremely ugly because the aura emitted by this black cauldron was too terrifying. He could not bear it, let alone obtain it. Perhaps only a king could do it. The corner of Xiao Li's mouth twitched as he felt his scalp go numb. In the next moment, he waved his sleeve as well and led the people of Blackwater City into the sky. If they didn't leave now, they might be crushed into meat paste by the mysterious power inside. Lin Xian and the others were the first to move out, so they took the lead and flew toward the exit. However, in the next moment, the black cauldron suddenly vibrated and rapidly expanded. The exit, which was originally close at hand, was once again pulled apart. What? Upon seeing this scene, Lin Xian's small face also collapsed, revealing a trace of helplessness. This situation was too strange and he was simply unable to control it. Brat, hurry up and protect your body. I'm afraid it won't be long before this space is destroyed by the black cauldron. The dark red divine dragon transmitted its voice. They had now entered the king's treasure, but it wasn't on the real world's continent. Instead, it was a strange independent space. But now, the dark red divine dragon actually said that the space was about to shatter. This was too shocking. However, he did not doubt the dragon's words. The dragon was an old monster that had lived for thousands of years. Its knowledge was absolutely reliable. In the next moment he stopped flying. Instead, he quickly gathered with Bing Ling and the others. All of you be careful. Hurry up and use your strongest defense. This space won't be long before it shatters. Lin Xian said a shocking piece of news. Hearing this, Bing Ling and the others were shocked. Their faces were filled with disbelief. They did not know how Lin Xian knew this news, but looking at his expression, it did not seem like he was joking. The space will shatter? Everyone gasped. If that was really the case, they were afraid that they would be greatly affected. Don't hesitate anymore. Hurry up and use your strongest skills, Lin Xian said quickly. Then Bing Ling and the others nodded and used their life-saving skills one after another. Lin Xian also used his spiritual power and quickly formed a huge shadow of the Red Lotus armor, enveloping Bing Ling and the others. Behind them, Xiao Li and the others no longer fled. Instead, they released their powerful spiritual power and formed a solid defense, enveloping the people of Blackwater City. In an instant, within the Black Cauldron, every martial artist formed a strong defense to protect their lives. The Black Cauldron trembled more and more violently. It kept expanding as if it was going to break the sky. At this moment, all the martial artists in the king's treasure space raised their heads in horror. Looking at this terrifying scene, their bodies kept trembling, not knowing what was going on. The next moment, cracks appeared in the sky like broken glass. The terrifying cracks spread in all directions, making cracking sounds. Bang! In the end, the sky could not bear the impact. A huge black vortex appeared and swallowed everything. Blackwater River Basin. The black water roared and surged. At this moment, above the Blackwater River, the void suddenly shattered and a huge black hole appeared. Then a huge cauldron appeared. It was like a black demonic mountain. It quickly flew out of the black hole and hit the ground. Like a comet hitting the ground, the huge black cauldron landed, triggering a terrifying force that shook all directions. Suddenly, a horrifying pit appeared on the ground, and cracks that were almost 10,000 feet long spread in all directions. Not only that, the trembling force spread, causing the river to surge and forming waves that were almost 1,000 meters high. The surrounding mountains were also shattered by this force. This scene shocked the surrounding martial artists. Countless people fled into the distance like frightened rabbits. When they arrived at a safe place, they stopped and looked ahead in horror. However, what happened next shocked them even more. The black vortex in the sky spun, and countless figures shot out like raindrops. These figures were the ones who had entered the king's treasure secret realm. Lin Xian and the others were pushed by a chaotic force of space. The force hit the Red Lotus armor and made a rumbling sound. Fortunately, the Red Lotus armor was tough and could resist it. Otherwise, the turbulence of space alone would have killed them. Sure enough, screams could be heard from time to time. Those were the martial artists who could not resist the turbulence of space and were killed by the violent and strange force. Bang! Lin Xian and the others quickly left the black vortex and appeared above the Blackwater River. Lin Xian controlled the Red Lotus armor and quickly stabilized his body. Beside him, Bing Ling and the others also breathed a sigh of relief. The scene just now was too scary. Even now they still had lingering fears. Putting away the Red Lotus armor, Lin Xian and the others flew to the side. At this moment, countless figures came out of the black vortex. Seeing that they were not dead, they all exclaimed in excitement. However, the next moment, they all looked at the huge black cauldron in front of them with deep fear in their eyes. Looking at the huge black cauldron, Dongfang Phoenix's beautiful eyes flashed. She exclaimed in a low voice, "What is that thing? It can even break the space created by a king." Chapter 892. Hearing this, Bing Ling and the others were shocked. They thought that the crystal skull in Lin Xian's hand was a rare treasure, but they didn't expect the real treasure to be the giant black cauldron. Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together, and his expression was grave. He didn't expect the rare treasure to be the giant black cauldron, but the crystal skull in his hand wasn't ordinary either. If the crystal skull hadn't been activated, the giant black cauldron wouldn't have changed like this. However, the aura of the giant black cauldron was too terrifying. He couldn't even get close to it, let alone have any ideas about it. Shaking his head, Lin Xian didn't intend to take it. Instead, he said in a low voice, "We should take this opportunity to leave. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble when Blackwater City realizes what's going on. We'll decide what to do after the situation is clear." Bing Ling and the others nodded in agreement. Indeed, the current situation was extremely unfavorable for them. Moreover, the giant black cauldron was too strange. Its aura was filled with a murderous aura. It didn't seem like a normal treasure. However, just as Lin Xian was about to leave, the crystal skull in his hand suddenly trembled. It seemed to be affected by the giant black cauldron and produced a mysterious power. The power was filled with murderous aura. It rushed into his body quickly as if it wanted to control him. Oh no! Lin Xian's face changed. In the next moment, he pushed the dragon sword soul with all his strength, forming countless sword auras that wandered around his body. The sharp sword aura exploded and destroyed the murderous aura. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. It was too scary. Fortunately, he had the dragon sword soul, which could destroy everything. Otherwise, he would have become a killing machine that only knew how to kill. Damn it, what the hell is this? Lin Xian's face was ugly. He had an impulse to throw away the crystal skull in his hand. What's wrong? Bing Ling saw Lin Xian's abnormality and a trace of worry flashed in her beautiful eyes. Nothing. Let's go. Lin Xian shook his head and took a deep breath. The dragon sword soul in his body spun rapidly, forming sword auras that covered his body. He did this to prevent the previous incident from happening again. Then he stomped his foot and flew into the distance. On the other side of the Blackwater River, Shaoli led the people from Blackwater City out of the Black Whirlpool. He looked in the direction where Lin Xian and the others had disappeared with a gloomy expression. Now, he understood that the crystal skull in Lin Xian's hand was most likely related to the Black Cauldron. In other words, it was the key to opening the Black Cauldron. With his current strength, subduing the giant Black Cauldron was undoubtedly a pipe dream. However, it would be different with the crystal skull. Perhaps with a little research he would be able to find a solution. When he thought of this, his eyes burned with passion as he stared at Lin Xian once more. He had to get that crystal skeleton. In the next moment, Shaoli waved his sleeve and released his clansmen from the defense. Then he turned into a black dragon and chased after Lin Xian. Lin Xian and the others flew in the opposite direction of the giant black cauldron. However, not long after he once again felt the attack of a murderous aura. Fortunately, he had defended himself in advance. The dragon sword soul in his body surged and quickly destroyed the murderous aura. However, the light emitted from the crystal skull in his hand became even more exuberant, especially in the two eye sockets. Two balls of blood-red flames were formed, pulsating. In the next moment, the giant black cauldron in the distance trembled again. Suddenly, the entire black water river became a scene of chaos. Countless mountains collapsed and the ground cracked. Thousands of meters of cracks appeared, forming countless abysses. The black river in the distance roared and stirred up huge waves. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. The surrounding cultivators were terrified and fled. Although they had guessed that the giant black cauldron was a king rare treasure, they did not have the ability to take it. In midair, Shaoli stopped chasing and revealed himself. He looked at the trembling giant black cauldron with a gloomy expression. He did not know what had happened, but he had an extremely bad feeling in his heart. Sure enough, in the next moment, the giant black cauldron trembled. Then, it rose from the ground and turned into a ray of black light, instantly disappearing. Only a terrifying deep pit and countless cracks were left behind. What? Seeing this, Shaoli's pupils constricted, and his face was filled with shock. His face was gloomy. He extended his soul power and quickly sensed. However, he had searched 1,000 miles, and there was no trace of the giant black cauldron at all. The surrounding people were also terrified. They stared blankly at this scene, not knowing what had happened. Could it be that the king rare treasure had been taken away? Shaoli's face was gloomy. If that was the case, then the person who had come was extremely terrifying. He was at least a 7th heaven venerable. It was very likely that his strength was even higher. Such an expert was not someone he could provoke at all. However, this king rare treasure was an order from the palace of gods of war. He had to get it. If he could not do it, the consequences would be very serious. Thinking of this, Shaoli's face became extremely ugly. If he could not complete the mission, he would probably end up in a terrible state. Even if his father was an elder in the palace of gods of war, he might not be able to save him. Moreover, what was even more tragic was that he did not know where the giant black cauldron had gone. Was it taken away by someone, or did it fly away on its own? Although the giant black cauldron was gone, the crystal skull was still there. If he could get the crystal skull, he might be able to find the giant black cauldron. If he could not, he could hand it over to the palace of gods of war. Perhaps he would be forgiven. Thinking of this, Shaoli sighed heavily. Now, it seemed that the crystal skull was his only life-saving straw. Lin Xian, the black cauldron. Shaoli's eyes were cold as he roared. The crystal skull was in the hands of the other party. As long as he could capture the other party, he would be able to obtain it. In the next moment, he moved and quickly flew into the distance. In front of him, Lin Xian and the other 4 were flying at extreme speed like 5 streams of light. Suddenly, Lin Xian's body shook and his face became extremely pale. The spiritual energy in his body also quickly stopped as if it had frozen. Lin Xian felt a huge pressure enveloping his body, as if it was going to tear him apart. His body also became stiff as if he could not control it. What's going on? A look of horror appeared in his eyes. He gritted his teeth and used the last of his spiritual energy to quickly summon the golden-feathered mystical eagle. Bang! The golden-feathered mystical eagle spread its wings and appeared under his feet. Then Lin Xian lay on the back of the mystical eagle, panting non-stop. At that moment he felt like he was about to die. Moreover, he could not exert any strength in his body. If it was not for his fast speed, he would have fallen. Falling from such a high altitude was no joke. If he fell to his death, it would be a big joke. Seeing this, Bing Ling, Dongfang Phoenix and the others were shocked. They quickly landed on the back of the golden-feathered mystical eagle and asked anxiously, "What happened to you? Are you okay?" Chapter 893. Lin Xian's face was as pale as a sheet of paper, and beads of sweat rolled down his cheeks. "It's nothing. I'll be fine after a short rest. During this time, I'll have to ask everyone to protect me. Don't worry. As long as we're here, we won't let you get hurt." Bing Ling nodded solemnly. "Many thanks." Lin Xian quickly sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. He quickly checked his body's condition, and his heart shook violently. There was a small black cauldron in his body, and it emitted a terrifying baleful aura. Seeing this, Lin Xian almost bit his tongue. Although the black cauldron had shrunk countless times, he still recognized it at a glance. It was the black cauldron that had broken through the king's space. Damn it! What's going on? How did it get into my body? Lin Xian's face was extremely ugly. He realized that the reason why his body had stiffened and his spiritual power had disappeared was most likely because of this small black cauldron. Moreover, the baleful aura emitted by the cauldron was too strong. Even with the great dragon sword soul, it was difficult for him to resist. It wasn't that the great dragon sword soul was inferior to the cauldron, but Lin Xian's current cultivation was unable to display the full power of the great dragon sword soul. However, he still gritted his teeth and pushed the great dragon sword soul forward with all his might. Fortunately, the great dragon sword soul's offensive Saint technique was still able to cut off some of the baleful aura. At least, it could allow the spiritual power in his body to circulate again. Feeling that his body was full of spiritual power again, Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief. However, when he looked at the small black cauldron, his face was still full of worry. "Ruffian dragon, what the hell is this? Do you know?" Lin Xian asked. "If I'm not wrong, this small black cauldron should be the legendary 10,000 Beast Cauldron." 10,000 Beast Cauldron? What's that? Lin Xian was puzzled. He remembered that the small black cauldron was engraved with all kinds of strange beasts. If it's really the 10,000 Beast Cauldron, then it should be an Earth-rank treasure. Moreover, it's complete. A complete Earth-rank treasure? Lin Xian's heart trembled and he almost cried out. He was too shocked. The Lonely Star Sword was only a fragment of an Earth-rank treasure, and it was already a fragment of an Earth-rank treasure. And? If my guess is correct, the crystal skull in your hand should be King Pillfeather's corpse. As for this 1000 Beast Cauldron, it's most likely King Pillfeather's weapon when he was alive. That's why the two have such a connection. Is Lin B. and Lin Xian. Lin Xian. He was on the verge of tears. Although this Earth-rank treasure was good, he couldn't control it at all. Let alone control it, just its aura was enough to make his body almost split open. No matter how good this treasure was, he had to be alive to take it. Be content. If others knew you had a complete Earth-rank treasure and had such an expression, all the kings in the world would hunt you down. How about I give it to you? If you can get it out of here, it's yours. Lin Xian sighed. Hearing this, the dark red dragon trembled, and his eyes blazed with passion. That was an Earth-rank treasure and a complete one at that. The value of such a treasure was unimaginable. If news of it got out, all the kings would go crazy. Even the dark red dragon didn't have a complete Earth-rank treasure when he was at his peak. It was easy to imagine how precious a complete Earth-rank treasure was. If he could get it, he would definitely be able to suppress everyone. But thinking of his own situation, the dark red dragon drooped his head. His cultivation was only around the first layer of the venerable realm. He couldn't even compare to Lin Xian, let alone take the black cauldron. Forget it. This thing is too hot. Help me keep it first. It won't be too late to ask for it after I recover my dragon essence. The dark red dragon chuckled. Fuck. Lin Xian stomped his foot in anger. He had the urge to curse. Then he took a deep breath. Let's not talk about messing around. Seriously, what should I do with this thing? It's been in my body all this time and I can't use any strength. I think you can try to give up resisting. The dark red dragon shrugged. In the past I heard a saying. If you can't resist, then enjoy it. It's talking about your current state. Damn you. Lin Xian was so angry that he almost went berserk. Seeing that Lin Xian was anxious, the dark red dragon wasn't joking. Instead, he said in a deep voice, I'm serious. You can really give up resisting for now and let this fiendish aura fill your body. Then I'll die. Lin Xian's face darkened. No matter how he looked at it, he felt that the dark red dragon was trying to harm him. You won't die so easily. At the very least, this black cauldron can't take your life. Don't forget what else is in your body. You mean, that mysterious little sword? Lin Xian's heart shook. He suddenly remembered that there was an ancient little sword in his body. It was incomparably mysterious. That little sword was originally a pendant given to him by his father. Later, it entered his body, and he relied on that mysterious little sword to cultivate. Moreover, it was also in that mysterious little sword that Lin Xian met Wine Lord and started his counterattack. That's right, what exactly is that little glazed sword in my body? Lin Xian asked. I've looked at it many times but I couldn't tell. However, I know that it's definitely an ancient artifact, the dark red dragon said with lingering fear. He had once examined Lin Xian's body, and when he saw the little sword in his body, he was also shocked. He tried to approach it but he was almost scared out of his wits. That little sword was too terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the aura emitted by the great dragon sword soul. I think that as long as we let the fiendish aura provoke the little sword, it'll definitely be able to suppress the 10,000 beast cauldron. Lin Xian nodded. He didn't have a better idea at the moment, so he could only give it a try. Moreover, the little glazed sword was the most mysterious thing in his body. It was even more mysterious than the great dragon sword soul. Let's do it. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and decided to do as the dark red dragon said. He really had no other choice. He couldn't use much strength now, and he was in a very dangerous situation. Xiaoli might catch up at any time. Therefore he had to get rid of the little black cauldron as soon as possible. In the next moment, Lin Xian activated the great dragon sword soul and withdrew all the sharp sword aura. He was in a relaxed state. As if it felt the disappearance of the sword aura, the little black cauldron trembled slightly. Then it emitted an even more terrifying light. Waves of black aura flowed wildly and quickly filled his body. Chapter 894. Lin Xian did not know that the moment he withdrew the great dragon sword soul, countless black gas instantly covered his body and formed black demonic runes on his body. It was extremely terrifying. This scene startled Bing Ling and the others. They looked at Lin Xian in shock, not knowing what to do. Bing Ling's mouth was slightly agape, and her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Although she didn't know what had happened to Lin Xian, just looking at the black demonic patterns that had formed on the surface of Lin Xian's body was enough to make them feel incomparably terrified. Could it be that he was attacked by the demonic aura from the black cauldron? Dongfang Phoenix was also shocked. Let's go. Let's go to a safe place and then hurry back to the college. I feel that junior brother Lin is in a very dangerous state. Bing Ling said in a low voice. Finally, she tried to communicate with the golden-feathered sacred eagle to increase its speed. The golden-feathered sacred eagle seemed to have sensed Lin Xian's state. It suddenly screeched and flapped its wings, increasing its speed and flying into the distance. However, just as it increased its speed, there was a sudden piercing sound from above. The void was mercilessly torn apart and a black fist, like a huge mountain, came crashing down. The aura was too terrifying. Bing Ling and the rest instantly tensed up. Not good. Quick, defend. Bing Ling shouted. She then waved the ice staff in her hand and formed a layer of ice mist, blocking the sky. Dongfang Phoenix and the rest did the same. Dazzling rays of light superimposed on the ice mountain. In the next moment, the black shadow came crashing down. The terrifying force forced Bing Ling and the rest to retreat. Even the golden-feathered sacred eagle screeched and fell rapidly. Bing Ling and the rest were pale. They quickly stopped themselves and looked up with a grave expression. There was a black shadow there. He was wearing a long black robe with 3 golden dragons on it. They were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. He was extremely arrogant. Xiaoli. When they saw the shadow, Bing Ling and the other 3's faces turned ugly. Hee, you're pretty fast. But do you think you can escape from me? Xiaoli said coldly. He looked around and saw the figure sitting cross-legged below. A sharp light shone from him. He had finally found Lin Xian. Oh no, I'm afraid his target is junior brother Lin. Bing Ling's face darkened when she saw the other's greedy eyes. What should we do now? Yang Linweng asked. Junior sister Dongfang, you take Lin Xian and leave first. The 3 of us will hold this guy back. In his current state, Lin Xian couldn't make a move at all, and they couldn't just watch Lin Xian get caught, so they could only let Dongfang Phoenix take Lin Xian away first. But Dongfang Phoenix looked at Bing Ling and the other 2 worriedly. Don't hesitate. If you hesitate any longer, I'm afraid none of you will be able to leave, Bing Ling said coldly. Although she was a girl, she was very decisive at this time. Alright, then you must be careful. The Eastern Phoenix knew the urgency of the situation. She gritted her teeth and said quickly. Then she turned around and landed on the golden feather godly condor. She quickly urged it to fly away. You want to leave? How laughable. Seeing the golden light, Xiaoli grinned and stretched out his palm. Your opponent is us. Bing Ling snorted and the aura of her body exploded. An unusually cold air filled the entire space. Yang Lin and Yi Yan also attacked with all their might. They attacked together and blocked the big black hand. You must be tired of living. Seeing that the other party dared to block his attack, Xiaoli's face darkened and killing intent surged in his eyes. Anyway, that brat can't escape from me. I'll take care of you first, then I'll kill that brat. Xiaoli turned around and stared at Bing Ling and the other 2. A cruel smile appeared on his face. A large black flag appeared in his hand. On the flag, there were 3 ferocious dragons circling around, emitting a terrifying and vast aura. "Let's attack together, don't hold back." Bing Ling shouted, and the aura of her body exploded again. The empty space behind her fluctuated and an ice blue throne appeared. It was crystal clear and emitted a piercing chill. Ice Ceiling Throne, that was her martial soul. Facing a rank 4 honorable, Bing Ling didn't dare to be careless. Hence, she immediately summoned her martial soul. A large ice throne appeared behind Bing Ling and emitted a terrifying icy aura. In the next instant, she sat on the ice throne like a queen. With the ice scepter in her hand, she was like the ice goddess who had descended. She waved the ice scepter and cold air gathered to form an icy wind that rushed forward. Yang Lin also summoned his martial soul. The muscles on his body bulged and he was like a giant, filled with explosive power. His martial soul was a mountain peak that emitted yellow light. There were mysterious runes on it and it emitted a heaviness that could crush the sky. Yang Lin raised his hands and attacked his opponent with a force that was as heavy as 10,000 pounds. A purple eye appeared behind Yi Yen. It was extremely strange and had a spiritual aura that made one tremble. The purple eye shone and formed a purple ray that surged forward. The 3 of them summoned their martial souls at the same time and attacked with powerful attacks. "A bunch of ants, how dare you compete with the sun and moon?" Shaoli said with disdain. "So what if you summon your martial souls?" He waved the black flag in his hand. Instantly, black smoke covered the surroundings like a demon. The 3 dragons roared ferociously and rushed toward Bing Ling and the other 2. Boom! Terrifying energy exploded and instantly flooded the space. On the other side, Dongfang Fenghuang rode the golden feather divine eagle and flew quickly. Lin Xian sat cross-legged on the back of the divine eagle with his eyes closed. In his body, the black cauldron emitted a murderous aura. It was like a black wave that swam quickly in his spiritual meridians. The aura was extremely terrifying. It could confuse a person's mind and turn them into a killing machine. In an instant, Lin Xian suffered extreme pain. Fortunately, he had a strong will and was able to endure it. The black cauldron turned into a black light and rushed toward his spiritual sea. The spiritual sea was the source of a martial artist's strength. The black cauldron wanted to occupy it. However, there was a small glazed sword floating in the air above the spiritual sea. It was located right above the spirit sea. Seeing that the best spot was occupied, the black cauldron trembled and emitted a black light. It was obviously furious. Boom! It turned into a black light again and rushed toward the small glazed sword. It wanted to drive it away. A low voice sounded in Lin Xian's body and echoed continuously. The black cauldron was quickly pushed back. Above the spiritual sea, the small glazed sword was still hovering quietly. It was obvious that the attack just now did not cause any damage to it. This immediately angered the black cauldron. It was an earth-class treasure and a complete one at that. Who in the world dared to go against it? In the next moment it emitted a dazzling light. All kinds of rare beasts swam around the cauldron and roared. Chapter 895. An abnormally terrifying demonic aura appeared, causing Lin Xian to feel even more pain. Above his spirit sea, the small glazed sword seemed to feel the provocation of this aura and began to tremble slightly. Light flowed on the sword, forming a huge devouring power that quickly enveloped the small black cauldron as if it wanted to devour everything. In the next moment, the terrifying demonic aura was devoured. The small black cauldron let out a buzzing sound as if it was frightened. It turned into a black light and rushed out of Lin Xian's body, wanting to leave this place. However, how could the small glazed sword give it a chance? Since it had been activated, there was no reason to stop. A huge devouring power instantly enveloped the small black cauldron and pulled it back. The small black cauldron was pulled back at an even faster speed and crashed into the small glazed sword. However, there was no earth-shattering collision. Instead, it seemed to have disappeared without a trace. At the same time, a huge black cauldron appeared in the space inside the small mysterious sword and crashed to the ground. As soon as it landed, the small black cauldron struggled with all its might as if it wanted to rush out. However, there seemed to be a mysterious power around it that confined it, preventing it from moving. Moreover, the entire space emitted a desolate aura that completely intimidated it. As the small black cauldron melted into the small mysterious sword, the demonic aura in Lin Xian's body completely disappeared. His spiritual power was like a vast ocean that instantly recovered and filled every part of his body. A familiar and powerful power returned to his body once again. Success! Lin Xian was excited. Thinking about the scene just now, he still had lingering fears. Fortunately, the small glazed sword was extremely mysterious and could suppress Earth-rank treasures. At the same time, this aroused his curiosity. What exactly was that small glazed sword? How could it be so powerful? A complete Earth-rank treasure wouldn't even have the slightest chance of resisting in front of it. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He swore that one day he would uncover the secret of this small mysterious sword. With a thought, his soul power entered the space inside the small mysterious sword. Then, he found the thousand-beast cauldron not far in front of him. This terrifying demonic cauldron had already returned to its original form. It was 2 meters tall and had all kinds of lifelike carvings of strange beasts engraved on it. Unlike its violent and ferocious state from before, the tiny black cauldron was extremely quiet at this moment, and it seemed as if it had fallen into deep slumber once more. Looking at the complete Earth-rank treasured artifact, Lin Xian's eyes once again revealed a wisp of burning desire. He needed to quickly raise his cultivation base in order to be able to control this Earth-step treasure. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian looked around again. The space inside the mysterious sword was very strange. In his current state he could only walk 1 or 2 meters. He clearly remembered that when Wine Lord had recovered a portion of his strength, he had charged straight into the depths of this space. Therefore, the depths of this space was one of the places he had to go in the future. Of course, the prerequisite for all of this was to have great strength. This was also what Lin Xian was currently pursuing, and what he desired the most. The next moment he exited the space and opened his eyes. "You're awake." Dongfang Fenghuang exclaimed when she saw the demonic patterns on Lin Xian's body disappear. "What happened? Why is it only you? Where are the others?" Soon Dongfang Fenghuang told him what had happened. After hearing it, Lin Xian's face darkened. That damn Shaoli was still chasing after him. Did he really think that he could be killed so easily? This time, no matter what price he had to pay, he had to summon the Great Dragon Sword Soul and kill Shaoli. Let's go back and support them. Lin Xian stood up and controlled the golden-feathered godly eagle to fly back. The golden-feathered godly eagle screeched and quickly turned around. It turned into a golden ray of light and flew back the way it came. Just as Lin Xian was rushing back with all his might, Bing Ling and the others were engaged in an intense battle with Shaoli. Shaoli waved the black flag, and 3 flood dragons circled around him, emitting a strong aura. On the other hand, Bing Ling and the others were pale and injured all over their bodies. It couldn't be helped. Shaoli was really too strong. Even if the 3 of them joined forces, they could only fight to a draw. This was already very impressive. If it were other 3rd-level venerables, they wouldn't even be able to withstand one move. As expected of the geniuses of the Immortal Martial Academy. You can actually withstand so many moves. Shaoli held the black flag in his hand, and a trace of mockery appeared in his eyes. "I wonder how long you can last in such a situation?" We can't defeat you, but you can forget about capturing us," Bing Ling said coldly. She sat on the ice throne like a queen. "You don't know what's good for you. Since you want to die, I'll send you on your way." In the next moment, Shaoli's eyes focused, and the aura on his body burst out again. It was like a violent storm sweeping across the sky. A deep roar sounded, and a strong figure condensed behind him. It was a purple python, and the eerie scales on its body shone with a terrifying aura. This purple python was Shaoli's martial soul. After summoning his martial soul, Shaoli's strength rose again. He sneered and quickly attacked. He waved his arm and a purple python rushed out quickly. It was like a purple river hanging in the sky. This punch was infused with the power of his martial soul. It was extremely powerful and could suppress everything. "I'll fight it out with you," Yang Lin roared. He also waved his martial soul, the yellow mountain, and blasted it forward. Bang! A terrifying sound was heard, shaking the 9 heavens. The two collided and a dazzling light burst out. In the next moment, Yang Lin's face changed. He felt that the power was as vast as the sea, as if it was going to tear his martial soul apart. In an instant he could not hold on. Fortunately, Bing Ling and Yi Yan attacked at the same time. The blue ice throne shone, forming an illusory blue figure, and flew forward. At the same time, the purple evil eye in front of Yi Yan also emitted a purple spiral light, which flew out. Boom! The 3 of them attacked with all their strength and quickly resisted Shaoli's martial soul. "Open for me." Shaoli sneered, and a trace of disdain appeared at the corner of his mouth. In the next moment, the purple python martial soul roared. Its huge tail was like a heavenly knife, and it quickly whipped Bing Ling and the other 2 away. Bing Ling and the other two vomited blood, and they flew a few hundred feet before they could stop. Then their faces turned pale. A sense of helplessness rose in their hearts. Our opponent is too strong. And he has a top spiritual treasure in his hand. The three of us are no match for him, Yi Yan said. After such a long time, I think Lin Shen must have gone far. How about this, the two of you go and I'll stop him for a while. Yang Lin gritted his teeth. No, we have to go together. No one can stay alone. Bing Ling quickly shook her head. If the three of them fought alone, none of them would be a match for Xiao Li. If they stayed, they would be courting death. Even if we all stay, we can't defeat him. It's better to let one of us go. Stop talking, let's attack together. Chapter 896. With a wave of his hand, the purple snake opened its mouth and spat out 365 rays of purple light. Each ray was like a sword chi and they quickly covered the entire sky. This was the power of a level 4 honorable realm. Compared to a level 3 honorable realm, there was a world of difference. Each ray of purple light in the sky could easily kill a level 3 honorable realm. When 365 rays of purple light appeared at the same time, their power was unimaginable. In an instant, the purple light engulfed Bing Bing and the others. Boom. Bing Ling and the other two tried their best to resist, but they were still sent flying. Blood splattered in the sky as the three of them tried their best to resist and roared in anger. Bing Ling's face was cold and a red light appeared in her eyes. In the next moment, a red light rushed out of her body like a sun, and it quickly disappeared. Then a powerful force exploded from her body. At this moment, she was sitting on the frozen throne with the icy spring staff in her hand. She was extremely cold. Not only that, an icy crown appeared on her forehead, and it contained a terrifying force. Bloodline power, I didn't expect you to have such a move. Xiao Li was shocked, and then a mocking expression appeared on his face. Fine, I'll play with you again. He shouted coldly and waved his arm again. 365 rays of purple light crisscrossed in the sky like a purple net, and they pressed down mercilessly. Ice bloodline, freeze thousands of miles. Bing Ling sat on the frozen throne like an ice queen. In the next moment, endless cold air exploded from her body and swept across the sky, freezing everything around her. Crack, crack, crack. The sky, earth, trees, mountains, and rivers were all frozen. The 365 rays of purple light in the sky were also covered with a thick layer of frost. It's frozen. Yi Yan was excited. However, in the next moment, the frost in the sky quickly cracked, and the purple light released endless rays of light, and a sharp aura spread out in all directions. You're strong, but you're still no match for me. You still have any tricks up your sleeves? Use them now. Otherwise die. Watch my martial soul fusion. Yi Yan roared from behind and he quickly merged with the evil purple eye. A ball of light exploded, and the evil purple eye flickered. It quickly merged into his glabella, forming 3 vertical eyes. They were like the eyes of a demon god and they emitted dazzling light. Bang! A faint purple light shot out from the evil purple eye. It contained a terrifying and strange aura as it streaked across the void. The faint purple light seemed very weak, but it easily tore the void apart and erupted with a powerful force. That force even surpassed that of a third heaven venerate. Thousand Snakes transformation. Purple sun illuminates the sky. On the other side, Xiao Li also let out a cold shout and waved his hand. Immediately, 365 rays of purple light rapidly condensed in the sky, forming a round ball that hung in the air like a purple sun. The purple sun rotated and flew downwards, colliding with the faint purple light. Rumble. The two of them collided, and a violent shockwave spread out for thousands of miles. The terrifying collision caused dozens of mountains in the surroundings to be reduced to dust. The earth cracked open and extended into the distance. In the end, the two balls of purple light were smashed apart and turned into streams of light that dissipated into the air. However, Yi Yan let out a miserable shriek. Blood flowed out from the vertical purple evil eye between his brows. It was a ghastly sight. Are you all right? Yang Lin supported Yi Yan from the side, his expression full of worry. Fuck, let's fight it out with him. He finally couldn't hold it in anymore. With a roar, he rushed back with the yellow mountain in his hand. Bing Ling's expression changed drastically. She wanted to stop him, but it was too late. In the next moment, Yang Lin also spat out blood and flew back, crashing into the ground and creating a terrifying pit. A bunch of ants? I've played enough. Go to hell. Xiao Li laughed maliciously. He stepped on the purple python and flew towards Bing Ling and the other two. With a wave of his hand, the three of them were sent flying again. Bing Ling and the other two spat out blood, dyeing their clothes red. I won't kill you all at once. I'll torture you to death bit by bit. Looking at Bing Ling and the other two on the ground, Xiao Li's eyes were cold. Then he clenched his fist and the purple python under his feet quickly transformed into a long purple whip. The long whip danced and lashed on Bing Ling's body. Instantly, a bloody scar appeared. Soon Yang Lin and Yi Yan were hit a few times. What immortal martial academy! What peerless geniuses! Aren't you all in the palm of my hand? Xiao Li held the purple whip in his hand and laughed loudly. His expression was full of arrogance. This is what you get for protecting that brat. Then Xiao Li stopped laughing and stared at Bing Ling. A strange light flashed in his eyes. Not bad, not bad. You're quite pretty and have a good figure. I wonder how you'll sound like later. He revealed a sinister smile and walked towards Bing Ling. The long whip in his hand danced and lashed on Bing Ling's body. Instantly her clothes were torn apart, revealing her snow-white skin. Bing Ling gritted her teeth and stared at Xiao Li coldly. Her eyes were about to spit fire. I'll fight you to the death. Seeing this, Yang Lin roared. Ignoring his injuries, he quickly got up and charged towards Xiao Li. Trash. Xiao Li sneered disdainfully and kicked Yang Lin to the ground. Then he stared at Bing Ling again and slowly walked over. He raised his arm and the purple whip once again emitted a dazzling light. If this whip hit, Bing Ling's clothes would be torn apart. In the next moment, Xiao Li laughed maliciously and waved the long whip. Bing Ling's eyes were unusually cold. She bit her lips tightly and a trace of blood flowed down her chin. She had already started to burn her blood force and was ready to fight to the death. Seeing the purple whip falling quickly, Bing Ling's eyes were filled with determination. She was going to fight to the death. At this moment, a sword radiance flashed across the void and slashed the purple whip, sending it flying. What? Bing Ling was stunned. Her beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. It was as if someone had pulled her up when she was about to drown. That feeling restored her hope of survival. Yang Lin and Yi Yan exclaimed and heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. Fortunately, she was sent flying. Otherwise they could not imagine what would have happened. Xiao Li's face was gloomy and a murderous look appeared in his eyes. He was having fun. He did not expect that someone would dare to stop him at this moment. That person must have a death wish. No matter who it was, they would die a horrible death if they dared to stop him. In the next moment he looked around for the person who had attacked. Then he stared at a place and was stunned. A cold smile appeared on his face. Brat, it's you. How dare you come back? Xiao Li did not expect that the person who had attacked was Lin Xian. That was the target that he had spent so much effort to find. Now that he was standing in front of him, alive and well, it felt great. Looks like I'm in luck. Even the heavens are helping me. He smiled maliciously. As long as he caught the other party and obtained the crystal skull, he would be able to report back and not be punished by the Palace of Gods of War. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He ignored Xiao Li and turned around. Chapter 897. Dongfang Fenghuang cried out and quickly flew to the three of them. She took out a shirt and covered Bing Ling with it. Then she took out some pills for the three of them to consume. Lin Xian came to Bing Ling and the other two and said in a low voice, I've implicated you this time. Bing Ling and the others swallowed the pills and recovered a little. Junior brother Lin, you shouldn't have come back. Hurry up and leave. Bing Ling shook her head and sighed. What an idiot. You came here to die. Behind them, Xiao Li sneered. If that's the case, I don't mind taking your life. What's there to be arrogant about? Dongfang Fenghuang snorted and gritted her teeth. With the five of us working together, I don't believe we can't beat him. No, I'll do it myself. Lin Xian said in a low voice. Dongfang, take senior sister Bing Ling and the others and leave this place first. You want to do it yourself? Stop fooling around. He's a 4th level honored warrior. Dongfang Fenghuang said anxiously. Bing Ling also frowned. Junior brother Lin, now's not the time to be impulsive. Let's work together and leave this place. Don't worry, I won't do something that will cost my life. It's because of me that everyone was seriously injured. I'll avenge everyone. Dongfang, take the others and leave quickly. Seeing Lin Xian's insistence, Dongfang Fenghuang kept shaking her head. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, All right, I'll take them to a safe place to watch the battle. If the situation doesn't look good, we'll take action immediately. Then we'll work together and leave together. Lin Xian nodded. Ayaya, what a close relationship. How touching. Xiao Li sneered disdainfully. Have you decided? Who's going to die first? Humph, I'll deal with you alone. Seeing that Dongfang Fenghuang had taken Bing Ling and the others to a safe place, Lin Xian turned around. You alone? You're overestimating yourself. Xiao Li sneered and ignored Dongfang Fenghuang and the others. As long as he captured Lin Xian, he could take care of the others. Brat, I have to say that you are very stupid. You knew that I was here to capture you, yet you still dared to come out. Hand over the crystal skeleton and I can give you a quick death. Xiao Li didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. Of all the things you shouldn't have done, you shouldn't have hurt my companion. Since you've done it, you should atone for your sins with your death. Lin Xian's expression was incomparably cold, as if he was the god of death. His body emitted a monstrous killing intent. This time he was truly enraged. He reached out and pulled out the black package on his back, then slowly opened it. No matter what you do, you won't be able to escape death today. Xiao Li wasn't in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he had an expression of watching a show. That expression was like a cat playing with a mouse. He wanted to see what the other party was relying on to be so arrogant. Soon, Lin Xian opened the black bag and held the Lone Star sword in his hand. Clang. The long sword was unsheathed, bringing with it a blue light. It was like a sea of stars, incomparably deep. The moment the sword aura was unsheathed, the entire space became cold, as if countless sword auras had streaked across. Feeling this aura, Xiao Li's face darkened. His eyes flickered as he stared at the treasure sword in Lin Xian's hand. His breathing gradually became heavier. This aura? That's right, a half-Earth-rank treasure. Ha 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 ha. Xiao Li laughed out loud, his voice filled with excitement. A half-Earth-rank treasure, it's really a half-Earth-rank treasure. Looks like my luck is really too good. He really didn't expect to encounter a half-Earth-rank treasure here. Furthermore, this treasure was in the hands of a second-level honorable. This was simply giving him a treasure. Kid, I really have to thank you for giving me such a precious treasure. I have to say you're really a child of fortune. I'll accept this half-Earth-rank treasure. Xiao Li's expression was arrogant, and his face was filled with pride as if the Lone Star sword was already his. Lin Xian didn't have any expression. He was incomparably cold and his body was filled with killing intent. Those who hurt my companion die. His voice was cold as if he was announcing Xiao Li's death sentence. You overestimate yourself. I won't give you a chance to attack. Xiao Li snorted and flew out like a ghost. He had to quickly kill his opponent. It wasn't just for the crystal skull. Just the half-Earth-rank treasure was enough to make him go crazy. A terrifying light burst out from his eyes like a venomous snake, incomparably cold. Boom. When the terrifying palm struck out, the void collapsed. The power was too terrifying, and it was as if thousands of giant mountains were rampaging. Kill. Lin Xian also swung his sword. The power of the great dragon sword soul was stimulated to the extreme. He was now like a peerless divine sword that was unstoppable. In addition to the power of the Lone Star sword in his hand, the sword was extremely sharp. The blood-red sword light swept across the sky like a river of blood. It emitted a monstrous bloody aura that swept out in all directions. The terrifying sword intent even shot into the clouds. Boom. The intense collision caused the world to lose its color. Lin Xian took a step back. The sword light in his eyes flickered as he slashed out again. Damn it. On the opposite side, Xiao Li's face darkened. The previous attack was actually a draw? This greatly surprised him. Even if his opponent had the Lone Star sword, it was impossible for him to compete with him. In the distance, Dongfang Phoenix and the rest were shocked when they saw this scene. They originally thought that it was irrational for Lin Xian to fight alone. Now that they saw this scene, they were relieved. Lin Xian, who was using the Lone Star sword, was actually able to compete with a fourth-rank honorable realm. This was undoubtedly great news. Xiao Li's face darkened. What a troublesome kid. But against me he has no chance of winning. The half-Earth-rank treasure will definitely be mine. Purple Python martial soul, come out. Xiao Li roared and the spiritual energy in his body erupted. Like the source of a storm, he released countless wind blades. Brr. A deep roar was heard. A huge purple python ferociously appeared. Its tail was like a heavenly blade that blasted away the blood-red sword chi in the void. Boom. The blood-red sword chi was deflected and slashed to the side. Instantly, a 1,000-meter-long crack was formed on the ground. It was bottomless and extremely terrifying. Hee, the power of a half-Earth-rank treasure is really enviable. Xiao Li's eyes were burning. However, such a treasure is really a waste in your hands. Only I can make it shine. He stood on the purple python and looked down at Lin Xian. Say this after you have the Lone Star Sword. Lin Xian roared and unleashed the great dragon sword soul to the extreme. Countless sword chi burst out from his body and swept in all directions. He held the Lone Star Sword in his hand and activated the great dragon sword soul, quickly charging forward. You still dare to attack? Fine, I'll let you see the power of my martial soul. Xiao Li controlled the purple python and attacked as well. Boom. Rumble. An intense battle unfolded and the momentum was terrifying. Each of Lin Xian's sword attacks was extremely powerful and seemed to be able to cut through everything. However, Xiao Li was not to be trifled with. As a rank 4 honorable realm expert and at the same time, he had summoned his martial soul. His combat strength was also terrifying. The two of them attacked and the sky darkened. The ground sank and countless rivers flowed. Boom. After another collision, Lin Xian was forced back. Haha kid, what other moves do you have? Hurry up and use them. Otherwise, I'll take your life. Xiao Li stood on the purple python and exuded a terrifying killing intent. Although he was shocked that Lin Xian could fight against him, he had the upper hand in this battle. In other words, he would definitely be able to kill Lin Xian. Chapter 898. In the sky, Xiao Li stood with his hands behind his back, his eyes flashing coldly. His opponent was harder to deal with than he had expected. He hadn't expected a second firmament brat to be able to fight with him for so long. However, it was useless because he would be the final victor. It was just that the process was a little difficult, but when he thought about how he could get a half-Earth rank artifact after killing his opponent, his eyes became fiery again. Lin Xian's expression was cold. It seemed that he could only use that move. Originally, he didn't want to use it, but now it seemed that the Lone Star Sword alone wasn't enough to kill his opponent. Taking a deep breath, Lin Xian's great dragon sword spirit surged. Do you really think you have everything under control? Today I'll show you my martial soul. Lin Xian raised his head and said in a sonorous voice. Your martial soul, ah. Xiao Li said disdainfully. What kind of martial soul could a second firmament venerate have? If Lin Xian used a half-Earth rank artifact, he might be able to contend with him, but if he used his martial soul, he would be courting death. A martial spirit was the source of power for a venerate martialist. There was a huge difference between each level of martial spirit. If one only used their martial spirits, a 4th level venerate martial spirit could easily defeat a 3rd level venerate. Not to mention that his opponent was only a second firmament venerate. There was no hope for him to win. Could even be said that he could kill him instantly. However, in the next moment he couldn't laugh anymore. This was because a green sword shadow had appeared beside Lin Xian. It was abnormally hazy, but it emitted a terrifying aura. That aura made his heart palpitate. Not only him, but even Dongfang Fenghuang and the others who were hiding in the distance felt their hearts beat wildly. This is Lin Xian's martial soul? The group of people were shocked. The aura was too terrifying and it made them feel powerless. Moreover, they realized that they had never seen Lin Xian use his martial soul in the previous battles. This seemed to be the first time. This brat is too strange. In the sky, Xiao Li's face became gloomy again. He had to act quickly. He couldn't delay any longer. Killing intent surged in his eyes. There was nothing he could do about it. The sword shadow was too terrifying. Its aura was not any weaker than his martial soul. He could not accept this at all. How could a second-level martial honored realm martial soul be compared to his? However, the truth was right before his eyes, and he had no choice but to believe it. Die, brat! Xiao Li roared angrily. He urged the purple python to charge downwards. This time he wanted to kill his opponent in one strike. Umph! Lin Xian coldly snorted. He slowly stretched out his hand and grabbed the cyan sword shadow. An extremely powerful force erupted from his body and swept through the heavens and earth. This cyan sword shadow was naturally Lin Xian's dragon martial spirit. Boom! The cyan sword shadow waved and slashed forward with a sword light. As soon as the great dragon sword soul appeared, the heavens and earth lost their color. The attack power of such an offensive saint technique was extremely terrifying. That cyan sword chi was not only sharp, but it also seemed to have a soul. It was incomparably agile, capable of destroying everything as it slashed forward. What? Feeling the aura, Xiao Li's face changed drastically. Previously, when the cyan sword shadow did not move, he only felt that it was terrifying. It seemed to be on par with his martial soul. However, when his opponent attacked, he was stunned. This attack had completely surpassed his martial soul. How is this possible? His eyes were filled with disbelief. A second-level martial honored realm martial soul had surpassed his? This was crazy. Damn it, block it for me. Xiao Lai's face was ferocious as he roared. At this point, it was impossible for him to escape. He could only fight with all his might. He waved his arm and the purple python quickly transformed into a purple spear. At the tip of the spear, there was a ferocious snake head that seemed to be able to devour everything. Thousand Snake Transformation, Purple Python Battle Spear. As the spear stabbed out, purple light shone brightly and lit up the entire sky. This spear was too bright. It was like a dragon running amok, and a terrifying force pierced through the void. Boom. When the two collided, an earth-shattering sound rang out. The purple spear let out a crazy roar and violently collided with the cyan sword shadow. The force was shocking. However, no matter how strong it was only a dragon. On the other hand, Lin Xian's cyan sword shadow was a real dragon. An earth-shattering dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. The cyan sword chi turned into a cyan dragon and rampaged in all directions. Boom. The purple spear dimmed and Xiao Lai was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. What? Xiao Lai is injured. When Dongfang Phoenix saw this from afar, she was stunned. In particular, Bing Ling and the other two were shocked. The 3 of them had joined forces, but they could not hurt Xiao Lai. Now, Lin Xian had only used one sword to make Xiao Lai spit out blood. This was simply too shocking. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. Xiao Lai was sent flying for 100 meters before he managed to stabilize his body. Then he looked at the blood on his hand and his entire body became distorted. Shame, this was a great shame. He had been injured by a second-level martial honored realm brat. This was absolutely intolerable. Brat, you forced me to do this. Xiao Lai's hair was disheveled and he was in a frenzy. Thousand Snake Transformation, merge. He roared in a frenzy. Then he merged with the giant purple python in the sky and a blinding purple light burst out. Rumble. A terrifying aura surged and Xiao Lai let out an earth-shattering roar. In the next moment he flew out from the purple light. After merging with his martial soul, he had become extremely ferocious. His eyes had turned green and his body was covered with scales that emitted a cold light. The most eye-catching thing was his arm, which had become extremely thick. His right arm was ferocious and his fist had turned into a purple python's head. His left arm had turned into a python's tail. His entire person was extremely demonic. Brat, go to hell. Xiao Lai threw out a punch. The purple python's head was ferocious and its blood-red mouth tore open the void easily. Not only that, the python's head formed a purple light pillar that swept out in all directions. It could be said that Xiao Lai had become more powerful after merging with his martial soul. However, Lin Xian was not afraid. He held the cyan sword shadow and soared into the sky. 108 rays of sword chi surrounded his body and pierced through the clouds. Die. The sword shadow flashed and the long sword struck out. In an instant, the sky was filled with cyan light and sword chi. The sword sent Xiao Lai flying once again. Ah! Xiao Lai was sent flying once again and roared into the sky. No, I don't believe it. He was about to go crazy. Before this, his opponent was an ant that he could crush. However, after a short while, he was no match for his opponent. This feeling of having his identity changed made Xiao Lai go crazy. You don't believe it? Then I'll beat you until you believe it. Lin Xian's voice was cold. His body swayed and he appeared in front of Xiao Lai. The cyan sword shadow fell. Crack. Xiao Lai's pupils contracted and he clenched his teeth and formed a purple light screen in front of him. Chapter 899. Xiao Li's pupils constricted as he tried his best to resist. However, his defense was like a piece of paper, unable to withstand a single blow. The green sword shadow slashed down, instantly shattering the purple light screen and slashing heavily on Xiao Li's body. Bang! Xiao Li was sent flying. Half of the bones in his body were shattered. Fortunately, he had the defense of his purple martial spirit. Otherwise, the sword would have split him into 2. From afar, Dongfang Phoenix and the rest stared blankly at the scene. They couldn't believe that the arrogant Xiao Li was beaten up like a dead dog by Lin Xian. The contrast was too great. Xiao Li was also stunned. He was the city lord of Blackwater City, an expert of the 4th level, yet he was defeated? Fear appeared in his eyes. He was finally afraid because his opponent had the power to kill him. Previously, he had been arrogant because he was able to crush Lin Xian and the others. But now the situation had been reversed. Thus, his arrogance was completely gone. Stop. I won't fight anymore. Spare me. Shaoli gasped for breath. He gritted his teeth and said, I don't want your half-earth rank artifact or the crystal skull. I'll let you go and we'll call it quits. How about it? Shake hands and call it quits? Lin Xian sneered. First, the half-earth rank artifact and the crystal skull are mine. You don't have the right to say you don't want them. Second, shake hands and call it quits? How is that possible? Why didn't you think of shaking hands and calling it quits when you injured Bing Ling and the rest? Now that you can't beat me, you come here and tell me to shake hands and call it quits? Do you think that's possible? Then what do you want? What compensation do you want? Tell me. Compensation? I've said it before. You bullied my companions. You can only pay with your life. Brat, don't go too far. Hearing this, Shaoli was enraged again. He was like a mad lion. Do you know my identity? If you dare to kill me, even if you're a disciple of the Immortal Martial Academy, you won't be able to escape death. Threatening me? No matter what your identity is, you must die today. Lin Xian didn't want to say more. He held the dragon sword spirit and walked forward step by step. I'll kill you. Shaoli's face was filled with madness. In the next moment, he burned the spiritual energy in his body, and a purple flame formed on the surface of his body. At the same time, his aura skyrocketed. Die, brat. In order to save his life, he didn't hesitate to burn his spirit energy. Although this method could increase his strength in a short period of time, the aftereffects were extremely tragic. He probably wouldn't be able to recover in half a year. Purple flames mixed with violent spiritual energy rushed towards Lin Xian. On the other hand, Lin Xian took a deep breath and held the cyan sword shadow with both hands, pushing the great dragon sword soul to its limits. Then he slashed with his sword. There was nothing out of the ordinary in the sky, but a sword shadow flashed past quickly. Then it turned into an azure dragon, roaring ferociously and pouncing forward. Then a terrifying sound rang out, and a dazzling light illuminated the entire sky. Terrifying energy spread out in all directions like waves. Everything in its path was reduced to ashes. Not good. Retreat. Dongfang Phoenix and the others, who were hiding in a safe place, were shocked when they saw the energy of the sword wave surging towards them. They quickly retreated. They only stabilized themselves after retreating a few hundred feet. Then they looked forward anxiously. In front of them, sword radiance shot into the sky and thunder rumbled. It was a scene of destruction. After a long time, the terrifying scene gradually disappeared. The ground was full of scars, and the cracks that were created by the sword chi spread out for 1,000 meters. The nearby mountains and forests had all disappeared and turned into flat ground. Lin Xian, Dongfang Phoenix and the others exclaimed and quickly ran forward. Then they saw a figure standing there. The person standing there was Lin Xian. Not far from him, Shaoli was lying on the ground with a transparent hole in his chest. He couldn't be more dead. Seeing the corpse, Dongfang Phoenix and the others trembled, and their eyes were filled with shock. Shaoli, a level 4 supremacy, was dead. Lin Xian, this guy, killed a level 4 supremacy. The four of them gasped, then looked at Lin Xian with complicated expressions. Lin Xian put away the green sword shadow. Then his feet swayed and he couldn't stand steadily. Are you okay? Dongfang Phoenix rushed forward to support him. Bing Ling and the others also saw Lin Xian's pale face, and their eyes were filled with worry. You look so pale. Are you injured? I'm not injured, just a little exhausted, Lin Xian said weakly. Indeed, the spiritual power in his body had almost dried up, and his muscles were sore. His whole body felt like it was about to split open. Although the dragon sword soul was extremely powerful, the price he paid was not small. Just like now, Lin Xian was extremely weak. Exhausted? Dongfang Phoenix and the others were relieved to hear that. It was good that he was not injured. They also knew that Lin Xian's combat power was too shocking. They thought that he must have activated some kind of secret skill, and this should be the aftereffects of using the secret skill. No matter what, we are safe now. Yang Lin sat down on the ground, his entire body relaxed. Indeed, the previous battle had been too intense, and all of them had suffered heavy injuries. They thought that they would definitely die in the face of a level 4 supremacy, but now Lin Xian had solved everything. This feeling of surviving a disaster was really good. Alright, let's not waste any more time here. Let's leave quickly. If the people from Blackwater City find us, then the situation will be really bad, Bing Ling said worriedly. Hearing that, the others nodded and stood up, ready to leave. Lin Xian summoned the golden-feathered divine eagle and prepared to leave. However, just as they climbed onto the back of the golden-feathered divine eagle, a mocking voice suddenly sounded. As expected of the Immortal Martial Academy's genius, not simple. You can even kill a level 4 supremacy. Hearing that, the others froze and their eyes were filled with shock. Lin Xian frowned and quickly probed with his soul power. "Who is it? Come out," he shouted in a deep voice. The current situation was too bad. Among the 5 of them except for Dongfang Phoenix, the other 4 were all injured. Moreover, Lin Xian was still extremely weak and did not have much combat power. If he was targeted at now, the situation would be very dangerous. Bing Ling and the others also knew about the situation. They looked around cautiously. "Don't look for me, I'm here." That mocking voice sounded again. Then, the void fluctuated and a figure appeared in front of them. It was a young man with a slender figure. He was looking at them with a cold smile. He was wearing a purple robe and the word Yen was painted on his chest. Chapter 900. Yen Clan's disciples, why are you blocking our path? We're from the Immortal Martial Academy, please leave. Bing Ling shouted. She naturally recognized the other party's identity. However, the young man merely sneered without the slightest hint of fear. "You must be Fairy Bing Ling, your beauty is unparalleled." "Fairy, don't worry. We won't do anything to you. The person we're looking for is him." The young man smiled and pointed at Lin Xian. Seeing where the young man was pointing, Bing Ling and the others fell silent. Then they looked at Lin Xian with complicated expressions. Lin Xian let out a bitter laugh and shrugged helplessly. "You've offended a lot of people." Dongfang Fenghuang rolled her eyes at him. Bing Ling said in a low voice, "No matter who you're looking for, we're a team. Since we came out together, we should return together. I advise you to leave quickly. You can't afford to delay the Immortal Martial Academy's mission." Bing Ling said in a low voice. She wanted to use her identity as a member of the Immortal Martial Academy to intimidate the Yen clan's disciples. However, the other party shook his head. "This brat killed our Yen clan's genius. Do you think I'll let him go? A debt of blood must be paid in blood. Fairy, you should know this. I advise you to leave obediently. Otherwise, don't blame us for being merciless. Moreover, such a good opportunity doesn't come by often." At the end, the smile on the young man's face disappeared. It was replaced by a strong killing intent. "Revenge? Don't make it sound so dignified." Lin Xian sneered. "Isn't this what you want?" After speaking, he raised the Lone Star Sword in his hand. "It's good that you know." The young man looked at the Lone Star Sword with a fiery gaze. He had seen the previous battle. Lin Xian relied on the power of the Lone Star Sword and was able to fight evenly with a 4th-level venerable. This was the power of the Lone Star Sword. It was absolutely shocking. If the Yen clan could get their hands on it, their strength would increase rapidly. Thinking of this, the young man grinned and his voice was filled with excitement. "Brat, hand over the Lone Star Sword and I'll give you a quick death." "You don't seem to have the right to say that." Lin Xian glanced at him with disdain. Looking at the disdainful gaze, the young man from the Yen clan's face darkened and his body trembled with anger. He was also a genius disciple, but now he was being looked down upon. However, he did not make a move in the end. After all, the scene of Lin Xian killing a 4th-level venerable was still deeply imprinted in his mind. Although the other party looked weak, there was no guarantee that he didn't have a backup plan. He didn't dare to take this risk. Lin Xian smiled when he saw the other party's angry and fearful expression. Trash. Bing Ling and the others were also disdainful, their eyes full of disdain. Previously he had been extremely arrogant. Now he did not even dare to make a move against an extremely weak 2nd-rank venerate. If this wasn't trash, then what was? Good. Good. You're really a sharp-tongued guy. The young man was so angry that he laughed, and his eyes revealed a fierce light. "I'd like to see if you can still be so stubborn later." His eyes were cold and he decided that when he caught Lin Xian later, he would torture and kill him to vent his anger. In the next moment he stretched out his arm and raised it above his head, shooting a light ball into the sky. Boom. The light ball exploded and it was extremely dazzling. It was like a signal that flashed in the sky. Soon the surrounding space fluctuated and violent energy surged. Countless black figures appeared around them. So many people. Bing Ling and the others' eyes narrowed when they saw the dense crowd of martial artists around them. If it was only the young man, they wouldn't be afraid at all. Now that there were so many people, they couldn't contend with them at all in their current state. "Humph, kid, I finally caught you." An old voice was heard, and it carried an endless amount of pressure that pressed down on Lin Xian. Lin Xian frowned and was about to make a move. However, Dongfang Fenghuang snorted and made a move first. A fiery red light shot out and instantly tore the pressure apart. What's the point of bullying an injured junior? The Yan family is really shameless. Dongfang Fenghuang had a fiery temper. "Little girl, this is not a place for you to be presumptuous." In the void, an old figure appeared and stared down with a gloomy face. As soon as he appeared, the surrounding crowd of cultivators quickly gathered and surrounded Lin Xian and the others. In addition to the old man at the front, 3 other figures appeared and stood side by side with him. Those people were all Third Heaven honorables, and their auras were powerful and mighty. "Kid, hand over the Lone Star Sword, or you won't be able to escape today." "Why are you talking nonsense with him? Just catch him and kill him." An old woman in green said viciously. "You sent so many people to besiege me. You really think highly of me." Looking at the countless figures around him, Lin Xian smirked. "But it's a pity. If the Lone Star Sword falls into the hands of a shameless family like the Yan family, it will be a great loss." Hearing Lin Xian's mockery, Dongfang Fenghuang and the others covered their mouths and laughed. "Kid, you're courting death." The young man from before was furious. The murderous aura on his body turned into a sharp sword and rushed into the sky. "What? You're not convinced?" Lin Xian sneered. "Then come and prove yourself." "All right, I'll kill you now." The young man was trembling with anger. He had been looked down upon twice. With his arrogant character, how could he take it? Moreover, his opponent was so weak that he could not use much of his combat strength. He could kill him with his own strength. In a flash, the young man from the Yan family charged forward. At that moment, the old man in the sky reached out his hand to stop him. "Kid, no matter what you say, you can't escape death today. The disciples of the Yan family are all geniuses. We won't fight with a dead man." What a weird reason. Just say that you don't dare to fight." Lin Xian sneered. "See, your elders don't think highly of you. Sigh, trash is trash. I'm so weak, but I don't dare to fight. What's the use of such a person living?" "I'm going to kill you." The young man roared angrily. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He said to the old man in the sky, "Elder, let me do it. I want to kill that little bastard with my own hands." Hearing that, the blue-robed elder's face darkened. He looked at the others. "It's okay. That kid used a secret skill to increase his strength. He's very weak now. Even a first-level honorable can kill him, let alone a second-level honorable." Indeed, looking at his weakness, it doesn't look like he's faking it. The few of them quickly communicated and confirmed that Lin Xian was indeed very weak and could not use much of his strength. In the void, the blue-robed old man sneered. "You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure."